Thanks, Rod. Morning, guys. You're right, Javier. Stupid hook. If you'd have told me Michigan would shoot 2 for 60 from 3-point and still win, I wouldn't have believed you. Oh, great. No, you didn't, Paula. You didn't try at all. No, you didn't. Don't go there. No. Congratulations to your team, but you didn't try to cover. You don't shoot 2 for 15 and give the ball away like that late and say you tried to cover. You tried to choke is what you tried to do.
Thank goodness your free throws.
Just got a text team working on it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. First Tuesday in April. Hail to the victors.
Oh,
a long time coming. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Worst case scenario for my co-host. If Michigan was going to win, they needed to cover. A Michigan win and a UConn cover is the worst night possible for one Mark Miller. So how you doing this morning?
Well, I was doing good until you started doing that hail crap to start the show.
Well,
Holy cow. But I mean, let's be honest here. Football times 3, men's basketball, women's basketball, 2 in the Frozen Four. The number 1 team in college baseball in the land right now is from where? The Big Ten. David, it just means more.
Well, I mean, heck, they won a wrestling natty.
Oh, that's right.
They-
Yeah. Penn
They
State.
won a women's college hockey natty. I mean, they are. This is the first time, I believe, 20 years. It's either 19 or 20 years, but I think it's 20 years. I think you got to go back 2006. Gators won both football and basketball. Lady Vols won hoops. The last time that a conference won the Big Three. So that's how much the Big Ten is dominating the landscape these days. So, yet Greg Sankey is going to keep changing the college basketball tournament. Apparently, they're going to vote very soon to move this sucker to 76.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised we didn't already get the news because I thought that was going to happen before the tournament. Everything I read, it was happening before the tournament's over. So you're right, David. In a tournament with the worst bubble that we've seen,
Yep.
really since we've gone to either 64 and now 68, the worst bubble we've ever seen.
Yep.
And now we're going to increase the tournament to 76 on both the men's and women's side. And I
Right.
get fair and you have to do it for both sides. But if we really cared about women's sports, that's even more laughable. It really is. It's 4-1s every year going to the Final Four. Every year.
Seemingly. It's happened 5 times. But certainly what happens is that there's seemingly one or no upsets to the Sweet 16. I mean, there is no middle class in women's college basketball, never was. And, adding these 8 teams when they do it, I mean, I think they calculated on the men's side this year, 6 or 7 of them would have been Power 4 schools.
Right.
Right, because that's what
Whatever.
we need more of.
Whatever.
But it's the first title for the Big Ten in 26 years. It's the first for Michigan in 37 years. And for long stretches of this year, they look like the best team in the country. And, hey, they won on their C day. I mean, UConn deserves a lot of credit. But, just about everything that had to happen for UConn to win happened. But then UConn couldn't solve Michigan's defense.
No, they could not. And because of that defense, even when they got open shots, they didn't convert. But Michigan shot 38% for the game, 13% from the three-point line. Connecticut out-rebounded them by 7, out-rebounded them by 10 on the offensive glass. 10.
Shocked.
I mean, if you would have just had those numbers at 8 o'clock, you'd have said, okay, I'm going to bet the money line and I'm going to bet Connecticut because they're going to win.
Yeah, and what did we say? Had to hold Michigan to under 75. Mark, if you had said at 8 o'clock Eastern, Connecticut's going to out-rebound them by 7, they're going to hold Michigan to 2 threes for the whole game, and they're going to hold them to under 70 points. You're darn right I would have bet the money line. I mean, I don't think they're winning by a lot, but I think they're getting to 72, 73. Yeah, okay. But Michigan did it. Hats off to the Big Ten. It's 20 of 21 years now. It's either a 1 seed or a Big East school that has won 20 of the last 21 championships. Now, I know there's a couple of titles that have been voided, but come on, play along at home. 20 of the last 21 titles. It's either a 1 seed or a Big East school. And we all know who the Big East school is. So keep that in mind when you fill out your brackets next year. Pick a 1 seed or pick a Big East school to cut down the nets.
Pick a 1 seed or pick Connecticut. I mean, let's be brutally honest here.
I will say there's the big money guy at St. John's is willing to throw more money into the pile. So I think there's a chance you could consider St. John's for the next couple of years, as long as you know who is coaching.
But I thought it was, it was a lackluster Final Four because I didn't think the 2 games on Saturday were that great. Obviously, Michigan just pounded Arizona. And the second half of Connecticut, Illinois for a long time was unwatchable to me. last night was competitive. Michigan got to 11 a couple of times and looked as if they were going to run away with it, but could never do it because even though UConn did not shoot all that well from 3-point range, when they got open threes and they were behind, damned if they didn't make shots. And all of a sudden Mullen cans one and then he cans another one, and they wouldn't go away. But both coaches are obviously really good coaches, but I do like the way Hurley coaches a basketball team. I do like watching that offense, their ability, the movement that they have, and the work that those two guys that shoot threes did to get open to take them. To me, it's because you know what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they're trying to do. And Michigan's defense was great. They're switching all the time. And yet, seemingly late in the shot clock, they were able to get open for threes. They just didn't make enough. But it was a defensive game. It was a physical game. It was, to me, it was Big Ten basketball in February. And Connecticut loves to play that style.
Yeah. Yeah. And Hurley, to his credit, after the game said, if those three officials could work every one of my games, I'd be a very happy man after the game. So, because some people brought up the fact there was a free throw disparity, and he's like, I thought it was a very well officiated game and an incredibly hard game to officiate. I do wonder if college basketball wants to, as a fan, do you want it that physical?
Yes, 100%. Okay. I do not want the NBA. I don't want SGA infiltrating college basketball. We call really ticky-tack fouls. I don't like that.
Okay, but don't you agree that there's a level in between last night and the NBA, or no? Because I think there is. I just don't know if we can find it. The other thing I think that the NCAA seriously got to think about, apparently they use brand new basketballs and brand new rims at the Final Four. And there's a lot, basically every coach and every team is like, this is not conducive to scoring. Okay. Didn't it seem as if the rims were not friendly in the tournament? That the ball bounced a lot off the rims, and that it's almost like, is there a way to, I don't know, soften everything up a little bit? Because it just seemed as if once you get to the Final Four, besides the fact we put you in football stadiums, that the basketballs and the rims are not conducive to scoring.
They're very lively, David. They're very lively. A lot of bounce to these rims. That I would agree with. The basketball thing, I don't know. I always look, not that I played at a high level of basketball, but I played a lot of basketball growing up. I always thought basketball players, and been around them when the new ball came out, everybody got giddy. It didn't matter, beginning of the year, the new balls came out in freshman basketball. The kids that played varsity, the new ball. Everybody, I know you like to wear it in a little bit, but I did think that I'm with you on the rims. I thought they were very lively. I mean, maybe they need to let them, Brady the balls a little bit before they start, or whatever kicker you want to pick and rub them down a little bit. But I have no problem with the physicality. I love the fact that when you're full court pressing, you can body the guy a little bit. As long as you're straight up and he's coming into you, we're not calling these ticky-tack fouls all the way down. So I rather enjoy the physicality. And if it sometimes means that I've got to see 69, 63, I'd rather have that than the NBA product. I still don't like the number of times that a guy knows he's getting fouled and can throw up a shot and go to the line for it, when they would never intend on taking that shot normally, and they know they're going to get a foul. And that's part of what the game is now. I get it. I thought that there were a few fouls called on guys shooting that were, one, late. I don't like the late foul. And two, I thought there were a few that I was like, I don't even know if I'd have called that. So I'm fine with it.
Well, you're a Big Ten guy, and like you said, it was Big Ten basketball. Okay. And UConn has no problems playing. You want to play Big East ball, Big Ten ball, it's pretty much the same. A game in the mid to high 60s. And not only that, it was played in Big Ten country. And that was a home game for Michigan.
It was.
And
With
by the
two
way,
of-
next year's Final Four is in Detroit.
Yep. And with two of the more obnoxious fan bases in the sport. I'm not taking anything away from you, Kentucky, because you're right there. But the UConn fan base, they have earned a reputation. And come on, Michigan fan is Michigan fan. They're going to let you know how good they are at everything, whether they are or not. They're going to let you know. So you had two, obnoxious fan bases. You had a coach, one who's a little obnoxious, the other one who is there. I mean, Dusty's arrogant. He thinks he's good at and he is good at what he does. So their teams kind of play the same way, which is fantastic. It was a physical game, and hats off to Michigan. I thought they were the best team all year, and they were able, like you said, David, playing a C game to get it done.
So the tournament has come and gone, but that was not the only college basketball news from yesterday. We'll get to the other big story as Masters Week rolls around. It's Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, crap.
David, just so you know, technically we're all good now.
So did we do that first segment not on all of our stations? Is that what that meant?
Possibly part of it, but I didn't see any messages. I don't know if you guys got any messages from any people on any affiliate. Mark, what'd you say?
I did not. We were up. We were up pretty quickly after it started. So. 23 degrees, Paula. How was the party? Or is the party later this week? So the guy that won the bracket I'm in, where did I finish? I finished 7th. I had a 97.9 percentage. This guy in the percentile of ESPN brackets was in the 99.9 percentile. He finished 6,000th. To show you just the sheer number of brackets.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
99.9. He had 1,650 points.
That's good for 6,000th place.
Yes. I mean, he won our bracket by 150 points, and the next guy was 99.6%. I don't know what each round is. I know they give a lot as it goes on. That's all right. I beat my cousin. That's all that really matters.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour on this first Tuesday of April. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Thanks so much for being with us. Mark, North Carolina, they're trying something different than everybody else.
Well, they are now. I mean, they're trying before that to do what a bunch of other teams did. Fire your coach with having no idea as to who you're going to hire next.
Well, yes, that many a school has done that. And we have said, listen, when you're a big boy, never mind a blue blood, you can't do that. You've got to answer the who are we replacing so-and-so with before we replace so-and-so. And everybody needs to remember that. It doesn't work normally. Okay. But North Carolina is trying the big two sports are football and basketball. And they have now hired championship pro coaches to coach their biggest college programs. We all know the first one was Bill Belichick in football. And now apparently they're going to make official either later today or tomorrow. Michael Malone, who was the head coach of the Nuggets when they won the title a few years ago. The New York native, the only connection to North Carolina that he has is one of his daughters plays, volleyball?
She plays volleyball there, David.
Right.
I mean, come on. I think you saying he's a pro coach doesn't talk about his vast college experience when he was at places like Manhattan and Oakland as an assistant.
Like I said, he's a pro coach. And a very good one. And a bit of a, pardon my French, a bit of a hard ass. Okay, that's his style. Some, if you're trying to spin this, are saying, well, The last time North Carolina went outside the family, they hired a New Yorker named Frank McGuire. And take a look at North Carolina basketball under Frank McGuire. He actually got it started and then handed it to Dean Smith. And we all know what happened since then. But this a fascinating hire. Clearly, he was not first, second, third, fourth choice. But then again, John Wooden was the fourth choice many years ago at UCLA. It doesn't matter what choice you are. It matters, is it going to work? But Mark, like Belichick, he is starting from zero.
Yeah. To compare it to Belichick, because it's easy, because it's North Carolina, they thought, Belichick and the group that he brought in thought that they would have the ability to evaluate talent at that level and be correct about the talent they evaluated. They were horrible at it. I mean, the choices they made for quarterback and different skilled positions and the line, whatever, wherever, it didn't work. Because I don't think all of a sudden Bill Belichick forgot how to coach. I think the talent that he had, and you could argue there's a couple years in New England that he thought the talent that he had was a lot better than what it was. But certainly last year, the talent was not there. Now, whoever Malone's director of basketball operations is.
Well, now you're starting to begin just how different this world is. All right. It's one thing, even if you as the coach in the NBA get to have a lot of influence in handpicking who the general manager is, et cetera. But now this is college. This is a different world. This is having to go the transfer portal route, the AAU route, et cetera. And you need a college guy. Who does he know? I mean, what kind of staff is he going to put together?
And I know it's NIL world here, but even putting the staff together, because look at when Michigan hired Juwan Howard, they went and got the longtime experienced assistant. David, help me out here. The guy they brought in, and you
Martelli.
and I loved the hire. Yeah,
Phil Martelli. Right.
Great hire.
Yeah.
It was that, the rules and the ins and outs of college ball. It didn't work.
Right. Martelli was great to help him, about managing a game. Okay, coaching a game, preparing for a game. Martelli helped him there, but Martelli wasn't helping him get a single player. Now, in theory, Malone doesn't need help coaching during the game. Okay, but what kind of players are North Carolina is going to get? By the way, they've had, I think, 4 of their top 5 returning players and recruits all announced they're leaving. Transfer portal opens today. And that apparently was a driving force as to why it was Michael Malone. That Billy Donovan would not give them an answer before Sunday. And I got to admit, if I'm North Carolina, I can't wait till Sunday and hope for a yes. I mean, Mark, we were asking the question yesterday. If you're North Carolina, could you wait for Sunday even if you knew the answer was yes?
And I said no. I didn't think you could. For those asking, very different from Belichick in this regard. Malone very happily married for over 2 decades, and his wife has largely stayed out of the public eye. Just thought I would add that. I think it's relevant to the conversation. So don't expect an Instagram page from his wife, Jocelyn, or a podcast for that matter. I don't see it happening.
But if you're North Carolina, I don't even know when you schedule the press conference. No offense. We could do the press conference in 2 weeks. The portal's open, dude. Go to work. You got to put a staff together and you got to get some players. And you got to keep the good ones that we have.
David, for years, one of the things you and I really enjoyed in early February when it was still signing day in college football was the camera in Tuscaloosa that was simply positioned on the fax machine.
Correct.
With that being said, don't you think that instead of a presser, they should just have a camera on Malone working the phones in his office, talking to agents and players.
Yes. Yes.
And maybe not just him, whoever he brings on to be part of his staff. And, I don't think you want to share the phone numbers and the conversations. But if I'm a North Carolina guy, what would you rather see today? Your coach getting up there and saying, go Tar Heels, or your coach locked in an office trying to get players?
Yeah. I don't want a press conference for 10 days. Honestly, I just want him hiring the staff and bringing in players. All right. Who cares? I'll meet you. I care more about the roster than who's coaching it, to be honest with you. We fired Hubert Davis because we didn't think the consistent top 15 rosters were good enough. You need to do better than that, dude. We're North Carolina. This ain't the Denver Nuggets. Okay. We're the Lakers/Celtics of college basketball. You got it? And you need to go find a Jokic.
Yeah, 4 seeds don't cut it here.
Right.
They really don't. I will take a 2, but we'd really prefer to be hosting the Eastern region when it starts in Greensboro.
Right. Right. We want to be playing Duke for the ACC championship, and one of us is getting the 1 in the East, and the other's getting the 2 in the South. Got it? That's how we do things here.
So
Michael
a fascinating
Malone.
hire. Fascinating hire.
Oh, my good. I was shocked. I didn't think it was real. In fact, the first time I saw it on X, I didn't think it was real. The second time I saw it, okay, it said it came from Pete Thamel. And I went, oh, my goodness, this is real. I was really surprised. I wasn't shocked. Tyler Hansborough was on a show 2 or 3 days ago, and he mentioned Michael Malone. So I thought, that's interesting. But Mark, on a scale of 1 to 10, I was like a 7.5.
I was pretty stunned because I didn't see those comments. And when I saw it, I went, wow, even Donovan told him no? Miller and Moulton. Jason Carmello, Pat Kirwan on the show, the starting 5 next.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
PGA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Southwest Floridians. Did we get rain down there yesterday? Poured here.
I got quite a bit where I was.
Good. We need it. And by we, I mean my golf course.
Of course you do.
I do. That's
I have to laugh. Our old producer Trent has this week off. He comes down to 239. He's going to get a week of rain.
I know. I feel badly for him. Although I know him, I know his dad. They'll make the best of it. They'll just be bellied up at a bar somewhere.
Well, I think they got the weekend. I think they got here early Saturday or by midday Saturday. So
Yeah, he came down Saturday because he went to Tigers opening day on Friday.
Ooh.
I had forgotten because I'm rewatching Sopranos, and early in season 6, the guy there who hangs himself, but he gets the money from the aunt. Thinking about moving to Fort Myers.
Yep.
So great. Really should have gone Cape Coral because that screams Jersey mobster way more than Fort Myers does.
I used to work at Hertz at the airport, and I saw Tony Gandolfini in our office. It was in the middle of when The Sopranos was airing the first time.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, he had like a white undershirt on with his belly hanging out. And then like sweatpants. He didn't care.
So you mean James Gandolfini who played Tony, right?
He mixed the two. I didn't
Right.
correct it.
Okay.
I knew.
Did
what
I
you
say
meant.
Tony Gandolfini?
You did.
did.
That's okay.
It's okay. I knew what you meant.
Oops.
David's a lot like my wife. He's not gonna let it slide on you sometimes.
No. I just wanted to make sure we're talking about the same person.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And our shuttle driver who drove him over to the office totally fanboyed out on him too.
Oh, I'm sure I hated that.
At that time, I would have had trouble not to. I was trying to tell Jake just how much Mondays were a big deal after Sopranos episodes.
He also had Art Garfunkel on the bus while he was playing the Simon and Garfunkel Greatest Hits album.
That's fantastic.
Solid.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Our 8 a.m. Eastern hour is our big interview hour today. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL. We're only a little over 2 weeks away from the draft. Start talking about the boards. All right. Big trade request yesterday in the NFL. Talk to Pat Kirwan about that. And Jason Carmello 2 hours from now to put the college basketball season to bed. Although I don't know if we can do that, considering the news out of Chapel Hill yesterday. But we'll do our best with Jason Carmello, the big underdog, coming up 2 hours from now. Right now, it is time for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
brought to you by Lee County, Florida. They know how to build a better community. Tried and true method of BST. And no, it's not bologna, salami, and turkey. Okay, although that could be a daily special. All right, it's business, sports, and tourism. We'll begin with the madness. Hail to the victors. Michigan gets it done. Their first title in 37 years. It's the Big Ten's first title since 2000. Wolverines held UConn to 31% shooting. Thank goodness, however, Michigan made their free throws. They were 25 of 28 from the line because they were just 2 of 15 from 3 and got out-rebounded by 7. And after scoring 90 or more in 5 consecutive tournament games, the Wolverines won with 69. 69-63, Michigan over UConn. And the Wolverines are your national champions. 20th time in 21 years that the NCAA champion was either a 1 seed or UConn. So keep that in mind next year when filling out your brackets. You want to pick a 1 seed or technically a Big East school, but that Big East school has been UConn for the last 20 plus years. Big college basketball news out of Chapel Hill, North Carolina yesterday. The Tar Heels picked Michael Malone, the former Denver Nuggets head coach who was fired almost a year ago to the day, won a title in Denver, has no ties to North Carolina, and doesn't have college experience for 25 plus years. And when he did get it, it was a couple of small schools. Michael Malone going to be the new head coach at North Carolina. And he doesn't have any time to breathe and enjoy the hire because the transfer portal officially opens today and goes for 15 days. Now, there are a lot of players who have already announced they're going into the portal, but the portal officially opens today. You have 15 days as a player to put yourself in the portal. You do not have to choose where you're going in 15 days, but you do have to choose if you're leaving in these 15 days. NHL. Big game in Buffalo, and the Lightning didn't win it. Kucherov scored his 400th career goal, but without Hagel and Cirelli, the Sabres beat the Lightning 4-2. It was 3-2 mid-second. Tampa could never tie it. Buffalo added an empty netter. This is the third time in a row the Sabres have beaten the Lightning. Third time in a month, in fact, the Sabres have beaten the Lightning. And those two teams are now tied atop the division, although Tampa has a game in hand and they own the tiebreak for now. Biggest game of the night in the NHL was arguably in Los Angeles because Nashville and the Kings were tied for the final playoff spot going into their game last night. LA won it 3-2 in a shootout, so they're a point ahead of the Preds for the final playoff spot. They're 2 points ahead of San Jose, Mark, who edged Chicago 3-2. The Sharks do have a game in hand.
And even Winnipeg, with an outside shot, they won last night. They're only 3 back. Same number of games as the Kings, but for a team that basically took the first month of the season off to be in a playoff race, I mean, good for them.
Jets beat the Kraken, who have absolutely fallen apart. My guess is there are going to be some changes there. Winnipeg 6-2 over Seattle, and as Mark mentioned, Jets 3 points out of the final playoff spot with 5 to play. And speaking of changes, the New Jersey Devils fired their general manager, Tom Fitzgerald, yesterday. That's 2 head coaches and 2 GMs who have been fired in the last week. And the season still has a week and a half to go.
They could fire one more coach and one more GM as far as I'm concerned.
Well, give it time in Detroit. Give it time in Detroit. Speaking of Detroit in the NBA, Detroit went to Orlando and got beat by the Magic 123-107. Paolo with 31. There's now a 3-way tie for 7th in the East between Orlando, Charlotte, and Philadelphia. Charlotte didn't play last night. Philly did and lost to San Antonio 115-102. By the way, the Knicks with a big win in Atlanta because it keeps them a game ahead of the Cavs for the 3 seed. New York 108-105. Hawks seem locked in as the 5. And they would play Cleveland in the first round as things stand now. Cleveland went to Memphis, beat the Grizzlies 142-126, despite the fact that Memphis hit 29 threes. So let me get this straight. They hit 29 threes and lost by 16? Yikes.
Defense. It's optional.
Unbelievable. One other game, Denver in overtime over Portland, 137-132. The win by Denver puts them a half a game ahead of the Lakers as they're trying to get the 3 seed. Baseball, whole bunch of games yesterday and last night. In front of a sellout crowd at the Trop, the first home game at the Trop in 561 days because of Hurricane Milton. The Rays over the Cubs, 6-4. Marlins held the 3 hits at home by the Reds. Cincinnati 2-0. Red Sox had a lead most of the game. Blew it in the 8th and 9th. Milwaukee improves to 8-2. 8-6 over Boston. Red Sox fall to 2-8. During the game, Brandon Woodruff hit Wilson Contreras. It's the 24th time Contreras has been hit by the Brewers in his career, the 6th time he's been hit by Woodruff. After the game, he told everybody who would listen, they hit me one more time, we're taking out one of theirs. Okay, I like it.
Yeah, I wouldn't wait for him to get hit one more time. I mean, isn't that at the point, David? And you love the unwritten rules of baseball. Doesn't someone have to get plunked from the Brewers today?
I would think so. His brother plays on the Brewers. Do you hit his brother?
Awkward Thanksgiving.
Do you hit his brother? Just asking. Bad news for Max Scherzer. Forearm tightness. Had to leave his start against the Dodgers early. LA was bombing he and the Blue Jays 14-2. They hit 5 homers. Ohtani and Freeman were part of the gang. The Big Dumper finally homered. He'd gone 10 games without hitting a homer. But that was all that Seattle produced. Texas beat Seattle 2-1. DeGrom had to leave early because of knee tightness, soreness. Anyway, that bears watching. He's in his late 30s now. Angels, they actually tuned up Chris Sale. 6 runs in 4+ innings, 4-2 over Atlanta. KC with 2 in the 8th. They held Cleveland to 4 hits, beat the Guardians 4-2. The Phillies with a 4-run 7th beat the Giants 6-4. Mark, it's one of the little things about this whole ABS thing. I love how confident some of the players are who challenge the pitch when they have 3 balls. Schwarber challenged a 3-0 pitch yesterday, and it was high. And he has got a lot of gear on. He knows he's right. He just steps out of the box and starts taking everything off. The umpires, motion, we got to take a look at this and what have you. Schwarber completely undresses, if you will, takes off all his gear, turns, and then they go, the pitch was a ball, blah, blah, blah. And Schwarber just nods at the umpire and jogs down to first. Philly 6-4 over the Giants.
I think it was the A's game 2 days ago in which the umpire was basically yelling at the pitcher to challenge him. Baseball umpires are something else.
Colorado with 8 in the 5th beat Houston 9-7. By the way, first pitch in Minneapolis last night was 37 degrees. How much do you have to love the Twins or Tigers on a Monday night?
Yeah, I saw it. I don't know if I think it was Royce on X saying there's only 10,500 people here. Exactly. It's 37 degrees. Who the hell would
Right.
Come on now. I mean,
At night.
you want to get on a crowd in June,
Right.
July, that's one
Right.
thing. But it's a bad team. You know it's going to be a bad team, and it's miserable outside.
Baltimore got a Gunnar Henderson homer. They bounced back after getting swept by the Pirates, and they beat the White Sox 2-1. The Nats with 6 in the 8th beat St. Louis 9-6. And speaking of the Pirates, they had their 5-game winning streak snapped. Padres have won 3 in a row. They won in Pittsburgh 5-0. Big NFL news, New York Giants stud defensive tackle, 28-year-old Dexter Lawrence. He's tired of this contract talk and not getting a new deal. So he said, blanket, I ain't showing up for anything. Trade me. He's under contract for 2 more years. He is underpaid. He's making $20 million a year for the next 2 years. But where he ranks amongst defensive tackles, he should be making about $10 million more a year. So it's gotten to the point, like, he's wanted new deals last year and the year before, and the Giants were like, we signed you to a 5-year deal, dude. You got 4 years and 3 years left on it. But now Lawrence is like, hey, the blank with this. Okay, you got to take care of me. So we'll see what John Harbaugh does. He's calling the shots. This is his first big thing.
It's a collaborative
coach of
effort,
the
David,
Giants.
in New York. I read it all the time. These guys are in lockstep with one another. I mean, come on. He loves the GM. Haven't you read the stories?
Right. Uh-huh. Yeah, he loves the GM because either he does what he says or he's gone. And he's already demoted him twice. Mark, tonight is the Masters dinner. I didn't realize this. This is on me because I guess you all have understood this. I knew that the champion golfer from the year before picked out the dinner. I didn't realize he had to pay for it. I just heard that the other day. And I was like, wait a minute. The club doesn't pay for it?
That's how they keep concession prices so low, David.
I guess so. Although, let me tell you, it does cost a few bucks to get in. They've made sure they've raised that sucker. Okay,
Yeah,
but yes. Okay, what is it? You could buy the whole menu for $75. Everything that they're selling at the concession stands, you could get one of everything for 75 total bucks.
I'm going to say this out loud, and I'm afraid to say it because, first off, I'm convinced I'll never get a media pass for the Masters, and I don't even know if I'll ever get tickets again. I'm upset with Augusta right now.
Wow.
I'm upset with Augusta. We'll get to it coming up.
Huh.
I'm just letting you know right now. I'm stunned by a move they've made.
All right.
They're belittling themselves, and it bothers me.
All right. We will get to the specifics of the Masters dinner a little bit later on as well. But at 8 minutes before the hour, that was the starting five big stories you need to know, courtesy of Lee County, Florida, one of the 5 fastest growing counties in Florida, because they're building a better community through BST, business, sports, and tourism. So you knew that the golfer had to pay for the dinner?
No, I actually did not. I had never really given it an ounce of consideration. I just assumed that the club paid for it, and that was their way of honoring all their past champions, and that the champion from the year before was able to pick the menu out. That's all. That's all we've really been told. We always see the menu of what's on it, and then people make pot shots at certain things that are on the menu.
Right.
And now everybody's making their own menu and thinking they're funny. It's annoying. And that's not even what my beef is. That just annoys me.
Gotcha.
Like, I give a damn what the Kelsey brothers think about putting a menu on. Jay Billis is putting a menu. Shut up. Stick to what you do.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And With a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thanks, Buck. Very nice of you.
Puck, where my concern with the Derby is if you're in the infield, you ain't going to see anything. That
Well,
for
I
the
wouldn't,
Derby to be great, you got to have
and it's expensive now. I mean,
really
it always
good
was,
seats.
but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even consider doing the infield. I mean, that's peasants. Are you kidding me? 56 years old. I'm not hanging around with 20-year-olds that are getting sloshed. But even I mean, not even just grandstand. You're talking. I mean, you're talking to do it right, and I'm not even talking to be in Millionaires Row and all that. You're going to need what?
Couple grand.
Oh, I think 3 minimum for tickets. Just tickets. And then you got to get tickets for Friday, because if you're going to do it right. The Derby is number 1 on my bucket list, Puck. It is number 1. It has been for the longest time. I just happen to have a daughter, and there are things that take my money. And going to the Derby hasn't been something that's been realistic the past 5 years for my wife and I. Yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm guessing that leaves you a little bit of money to gamble with. But yeah, that seems about right. I would do a Derby over a Super Bowl 10 years in a row. I have no interest in going to a Super Bowl.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this first Tuesday in April. Hail to the victors. Michigan cutting down the nets for the first time in 37 years. First Big Ten title in men's basketball in 26 seasons. It is the Big Ten's world right now. Everyone else is just playing college sports to kill some time.
And the funny thing about it is, I had a little fun on my post on X, and I'm curious. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, 21,000 is the number. If you've never texted the show before, Miller is the keyword. I would love to hear from Big Ten guy. I'd like you to start by telling me who your team is and telling me whether or not you're puffing your chest out because of the success of the Big Ten. Like, Ohio State fan isn't. They're not. They're excited that Michigan won a natty. They're not even excited that Indiana won the football thing because they think they deserve to win it every year. So, Big Ten fan, would love to hear from you. Are you happy today? Are you going to work with a little more pep in your step because Michigan won a natty in basketball and you've ended the drought since 2000?
Well, let's talk to Raj. All right. He is a big Purdue fan. All right. In all sports. Raj, obviously, we don't have to explain to you who's won what here recently. As a Purdue guy, have you taken any extra pride in the 3 straight Big Ten football championships, and or how hard were you rooting for Michigan last night?
Well, I'll start by saying I did not celebrate Indiana's football championship at all.
Fair enough.
I will also say that I'm glad that Michigan won, only because I just want that narrative to be over that the Big Ten can't win a championship anymore in men's basketball. So, yeah, and I'm not a Danny Hurley fan, so, yes, I was rooting for Michigan last night. Plus,
Okay.
It's nice to say that my team beat the national champions at one point.
Well, true. Quick question, by the way. When Ohio State and Michigan won the football titles 2 and 3 years ago, were you rooting for them, or as a Purdue guy, no?
Yeah, I guess I was. Our football team's been so bad for quite a few years, so
Yes.
go conference.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. That's true.
I mean, David, that it was weird. I wanted Michigan to win and cover because I bet on it, 1.
Right.
2, I picked Michigan to win the title. It had nothing to do with the Michigan part of it. It was about me being right. I mean,
Right.
Can we refocus this to be about me? Because
Sure.
that's really what it was last night. That's all that it was.
Right. Miller and Moulton with an emphasis on Miller. Right. Exactly.
And not even for the show, just for life in general. To be right is important. And David, it's funny because my son's here with me right now as I'm at Hope Lodge, and I have to have a caretaker 24/7. And my son's been here he's going to be here for a few more days. But he said, "You going to rub it into Moulton?" I said, "No, I'm going to rub it into Kirwan." I don't care about David. We pick things and are wrong all the time. Kirwan sided with Moulton and not me. He's the only one I'm giving a hard time to today.
I will say, though, I don't think Pat could have got to, if you missed the story. So before the tournament began, Pat's in a pool with his friends. And last year, both of us picked Florida to win. So Pat, I guess he's in one of those pools where you get like everybody gets 6 teams, because it's like 10 guys. And so they spread it out. Everybody gets and so what he did was he traded all of his teams to just only have one Florida. And he ended up winning. So then this year he did the same thing. He asked us who we were picking. Mark picked Michigan. I picked Arizona. And he said, "Oh, man, I'm in this thing with a bunch of Big Ten guys." See, I think he also went with Arizona, not picking me over you. I don't think he could make the same trade this year that he made last year. He was kind of implying that, the guys at the table aren't going to give me Michigan.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm still going to give him grief.
Sure,
I just want,
absolutely.
That's all.
Right.
It'll be passive aggressive, and I just listen to Moulton again. He helps you on the show. I just get you stone crab, and I'm worthless to you, Pat.
Which is much more valuable to him. And you know it. All
I
right,
know.
but Miller and Moulton are wrong about a lot. You know that from listening to the show, and goodness knows we have no problem telling you. We remind you when we were wrong. Okay. We've had a decent half decade with the college hoops, though. Okay. We've been pretty good early in the season. We picked out Miami 3 months before they made the Final Four and said, believe it or not, that's a Final Four team. Okay. We picked out FAU. All right. 2 months before they went to the Final Four. We started having Dusty May on the show because of it. And we're like, this is a filthy team. This is, not a normal mid-major.
Yeah, they had a couple wins early in the season that made
Yeah.
you pause and go, okay, these guys are better than you may think.
So last year, Florida, this year, Michigan, Arizona. Michigan ended up winning. So Mark's 2 in a row. I mean, don't know if you've won any money in the pools that you're in, because apparently you're entering pools where people who are finishing in the 99.9 percentile of the ESPN.com tournament, you got to pick some different pools, man.
Yeah, I won that one 3-4 years ago, and I'm trying to remember which team I won it with, but I've won. It's my godson, my cousin, who has it every year, and I won a pretty good chunk of change a few years ago, so I'm still on the plus side of that one. But
all right.
Yeah, I had the winning team and still finished 7th. But so no, I mean, I took more pride in being right, though, than the Big Ten, I guess, if you know what I'm saying. It's just, to me, and maybe I'm wrong, and Big Ten fan, tell me if I'm wrong, because, again, we're wrong a lot, but it's not the Big Ten mentality to say, yippee, the conference won. And certainly when it comes to Michigan and Ohio State, because if you root for anybody else in that conference, you don't like them. You dislike them. You may not love, Minnesota or Indiana or Wisconsin or whatever the case may be, but you typically don't dislike them. And the arrogance of Michigan and Ohio State, because they dominated football for decades. So if you're my age, those are the teams that bothered you the most. We didn't have this conference pride, and it really came into being, about 18 years ago. I mean, when did the SEC start chanting? About the same time you started working in that conference, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Mid to late 2000s. It's when they started taking over in college football, and they loved it because they had been pushed to the side. They had been regionalized for far too long. They had been told, first off, they'd been told throughout much of the 20th century that their football wasn't as good. And they were certainly told that throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s because, the SEC was fairly late to recruiting the black athlete. So they were kind of patted on the head and pushed to the side. And then 2006 was the turning point, Mark. I think that's after Florida got in the game and then won it. And then I think every major championship since, okay, it's been SEC.
And obviously that's the year that at that time ESPN is in bed with the Big Ten.
In the tank.
We've told the story a million times, and I think you're all aware of it. But everybody on that panel who is basically in charge, the voices of college football, right after Ohio State, Michigan, are calling for what? A rematch.
Well, let's see. You got a Ohio State quarterback and a Michigan wide receiver who are on the panel along with Fowler, and that was the panel, and they were the preeminent voices in the sport, and two of them still are.
And I mean, Corso coached where? In the Big Ten.
He did.
Got beat up by the big boys, but that's where he coached. So, and by those two teams, he got beat up by. So, yes, that's kind of when it started, and it didn't really go away. Although I think it's starting to. I think now in the NIL world, the SEC's become a me conference like the rest of them. I really think that it has, and that's fine.
Well, the funny thing is that once everybody started getting paid, look at what's happened. So back to the Big Ten thing for a second. You know what I didn't realize, Mark, until before the game? And you know me, sometimes I sit there on the couch and I'm doing my own talk show in my head. And
right.
I'm not looking at anything official. That would be too easy. That would be accurate. But I just start going, this whole Big Ten 25, 26-year drought thing. Well, how many opportunities have they had? And then you start slowly rattling off the years. And I don't mean about teams getting to a Final Four. I'm just talking about championship games. Illinois in 2005. Ohio State was in back-to-back title games. I think your Spartans, have been in one championship game in the last 25 years. He's made like 5 Final Fours, but he keeps losing in the semis. But I think he got through to a final once and got whacked.
By North Carolina, exactly.
Right. But Wisconsin had their crack at it when they upset Kentucky in the semis. Michigan with the 2013 team. Purdue had their crack at UConn. What was it, 2 years ago? And so you just start going through and you're like, wow, that's a decent number of schools. Purdue, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan State, Ohio State. All right. And then you start realizing, they've been in the title game like every 3 years on average. Yeah, I could see where this would start to get annoying to the Big Ten fan. They've had like 6 different schools and like 8 or so different cracks at this sucker. All right, let's just have a team win. I can root against them and everything else. This is starting to bother me. So I get it.
So Michigan gets it done. North Carolina hired an NBA coach, and the portal opens today.
Mm-hmm.
There's your quick college basketball in 10 seconds or less. That's where we're at right now.
And the Lady Vols had their entire team get up and leave. All right. The entire Tennessee women's basketball program is in the portal. So apparently is the entire Indiana State men's basketball team.
Well, we talked with Josh Pastner, the UNLV coach. He's keeping one guy.
Right.
One guy. Thinks he might be able to keep 2. So that's the world we're in, particularly in the mid-major. The Tennessee one is surprising to me because I didn't know. I have no idea how much money there is in NIL and women's college basketball.
Yeah, apparently they all hated one another.
Well, there you have it.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating
The
needs.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit edisonawards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think that's what it is, DC. I think we're now at the point where we just don't want to hear it from SEC guy. I would agree with that. You think they got a much better head coach, huh, Leftwicks? Okay, we'll see. It is certainly a different way of doing things. We'll see how it works out. A guy who knows absolutely nothing about college basketball, about the talent in college basketball, the players in college basketball, and the portal opens today. This is fascinating. You may end up being right. I'm not saying that you're not, but I can't look at it as when you get your fifth choice of it being a better hire. That's just me. But we'll see. You got to know what wins at that level. And being at the pro game for as long as he was, does he have any idea what the best talent looks like in college? Do you think that, for instance, he would be able to get the kid from UAB that Dusty May got? That's to me the difference. And we'll see. You could be right, but I mean, come on. This wasn't their first choice. This wasn't their second choice. This wasn't their third choice. This wasn't their fourth choice. I don't even know if it was their fifth choice. This seemed like a desperate choice because the portal opens today. That's the only thing that we're saying, that they felt they had to get a guy because Donovan wouldn't give him an answer until the NBA season ended. And they lost everybody they were recruiting. So we'll see. And if it's coach a guy 1 year and he leaves, then he should be able to get to what? Because it's UNC, he should be able to get to a minimum the Sweet 16 next year. What would you say, Leftwicks, is the low end? What's the floor for what he has to do? So round 2 was a success so winning one game in the tournament and losing before the Sweet 16 is a good year for year 1 at North Carolina. Whoa. I don't think North Carolina. I answered your question, Leftwich. Oh, I must have answered on the wrong platform. I'm sorry. It's the Derby for me because I've already been to the Masters. That's all. I mean, the Masters would be one every time if I had been to both, but I've never been to the Kentucky Derby. That is the number one thing on my bucket list. I've been to a Stanley Cup final game. I've been to a World Series game. I've never been to a Super Bowl or an NBA final, and I don't really have much interest.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton. David, you got to unmute yourself. That's what it's telling me.
Yeah, actually,
Sorry.
considering you're the one that muted me, I figured you would do that.
No, well, my screen popped up and it said that I cannot unmute you because that person muted themselves. So I can only go by what the screen tells me. I apologize, David. I had mentioned before that I'm upset with Augusta.
Right.
And this is dangerous to me because being upset with Augusta, even as little of a show as we are, can get me blacklisted for life. But I get, Pat McAfee made his case that he tried to do a show at Augusta and he was basically told to go to hell by Augusta. That should surprise no one. The way Augusta is, does anybody think that they would allow Pat McAfee anywhere near their grounds? Like, I don't. Did that surprise you? Like, on the scale of 1 to 10, I'm at about a -5 for that one, David.
Yeah. I never in my lifetime thought that they would allow the Pat McAfee show, even on Wednesday par 3 day, to be at their tournament. That I think that Augusta thinks that they're just a level above that.
And the other side of it is, without Hooters still being at Augusta, I don't think there's any place in Augusta that would let McAfee. And I think the McAfee show's terrific. This is not a knock on the Pat McAfee show.
No.
I think they do a remarkable job. I think they are very funny. I think they are timely. They get unbelievable guests. I don't give a damn that he pays them. A lot of people pay guests in this world. It's been going on since sports talks began. So I am not knocking his show. I am just saying that show in Augusta don't mix to me.
No, the Dan Patrick show at Augusta fits.
Yes.
Right.
Right. I'm with you. But so now ESPN has got Jason Kelsey doing the par 3. Are you serious here? This is a guy who on Monday Night Football, they showed rip his shirt off, jump down and chug beers. What the hell's the difference between Pat McAfee and Jason Kelsey? I'm being serious here. That's not Augusta.
Well, I think
it's a joke.
I think it's the podcast. I think that's the difference. I think it's the last name in the podcast. And the podcast is what? The number 1 or number 2 podcast in the country?
Okay.
All right. Well,
when has Augusta ever said that we need more people paying attention to us?
Well, if you think about it quietly, Augusta has really branched out here in the last 10 years. I mean, the last 10 years is when they went crazy with masters.com, in which they started showing you everything round the clock. This year, they're going what? Amazon for Thursday, Friday? I mean, did you think that Augusta, before ESPN takes over at 3:00 Thursday and Friday, did you think that they would give 1 to 3 to a streaming company?
I mean, when they jumped in with ESPN for all of the extra coverage that was on Plus, and even before that, David, they were in with DirecTV. The Masters coverage on DirecTV was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You got the
was.
same thing you got on Masters.com.
Yes.
So in that regard, no, I'm not that surprised.
Okay, I am. I was surprised. I figured they would just do it with ESPN Plus. So I'm surprised by that. Plus also, Mark, the Masters has a way of putting their arm around you and saying, okay, it's different here. And by the way, here's the vernacular. Here's what you got to say. Keep it with you if you have to. Put it right in front of you if you have to. So I think it's the podcast. That's why they're okay with Jason Kelsey. But, Mark, it only takes one comment. I mean, we've seen, Olafable was trying to hold on to win a Masters, and he went slightly over the back on 17, and Gary McCord said, uh-oh, look out. That's where the bodies are buried. Well, there you go. Haven't heard from him since.
Right, and the bikini wax comment got what's-his-face thrown off. But, I mean, I don't know. And I like Jason Kelsey. I've got no problem with Jason Kelsey. I think the clips that I see, and I don't listen to their podcast, the clips that I see from it are very funny.
So apparently that someone, Bert Mangus, who's a very high-ranking ESPN executive, very high-ranking, like I think is number 2 in the chain, he apparently is getting McAfee on the grounds. That's how they're beginning to bridge the relationship. He's going to meet Fred Ridley and a few other people and then see in future years if it pays off. I would be surprised if it ever happened. But I'll give McAfee credit for at least asking to only do the par 3. I thought that was smart of him. But, Mark, would this dinner work for you? The appetizers tonight at the Champions Dinner. And I'll tell you what, Roy went crazy with the appetizers. Apparently, this is his mother's appetizer, bacon-wrapped dates. I've never heard of it before, but that's his mom's dish.
They're fine.
Okay.
I mean, you could put bacon wrapped around a shoe, David, and it's not bad.
Well, it's a good point. Grilled elk sliders.
Ooh, yummy. Amazing.
Rock shrimp tempura. Peach and ricotta flatbread. So 4 different choices of appetizers there. The dinner, 2 choices. Wagyu filet mignon. Apparently, it's from a specific restaurant in New York. Rory had them go to it. Talk to the chef, the whole deal. Or seared salmon.
I'm not a salmon guy, but sure, why not? It's not even top 5 in fish that I like, but sure.
Right. Then traditional Irish mashed potatoes and Brussels sprouts. 4 different kinds of wine, Mark. All right. I'm not a wine guy. All right. So for those of you, you could look it up as to whether or not these wines are, I mean, I don't know how many of them you get at Walmart, but I digress. I mean, I had it in front of me here. By the way, the dinner's going to cost almost 10 grand. And the dessert is sticky toffee pudding with vanilla ice cream.
Do love me some toffee.
Okay.
That's like a melted Heath bar with vanilla ice cream. Oh, I'm in.
The wine, for those of you, a 2015 Salon Champagne, a 2022 Domaine Batard Montrachet.
This is making my day right here. David reading wines. I think we should have just stuck with 4 wines, but please go on. This is the best thing we've ever done on this show.
Well,
In
it's
fact,
why,
it may be a segment. David reads wines.
it's why I did it, because, Mr. Swaven de Boner over here,
Exactly.
right, reading the wines. A 1990 Chateau Lafite Rothschild
Very good.
and a 1989 Chateau de Quem, D''YQUEM. Those apparently are the 4 drinks. Rory has to pay for the whole deal. It's all the champions, and apparently, I don't know. Some dinners have been unbelievably cheap. They think this dinner is going to be the most expensive ever and is going to cost him over 10 grand.
I mean, that's like a rookie dinner for an NFL player. He's worth millions. I don't think that's that much to spend on a dinner for winning your first Masters. I don't.
I'm sorry, it's cheap. Okay, let me get this straight. So we'll host the dinner, but you have to pay for it? What the heck?
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100 grand. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, Mark, do you just want me to come back from every break and read one of the wines?
No, in a perfect world, I would like to do a weekly segment where I send you 6 or 7 wines and just have you read the names of them. And I'll be honest, I would butcher a bunch of them too. I've got some a-hole right now who's pissed at me because I don't get the podcast up. And I said, I'm sorry, I have cancer and I can't do it every day right now. And then he says, people have it worse off than you. How about go F yourself? Like I fight with people every day and some of the crap they say. I answer every goddamn thing on that text line. That is a question to me or to David.
So the one wine I shortened, and I shouldn't have, I apologize. It is the 2022 Domaine Leflaive Batard Montrachet.
So good.
Leflaive. I'm guessing I pronounced it Leflaive.
David, I can't. Honestly, I'm not being a jerk. I can't help you.
I mean, since domain is spelled AINE, I went with the same pronunciation for Domaine and Leflaive. Batard Montrachet. This is where 4 years of French. This is the only place, it's paying off, ladies and gentlemen. Madame Lil, wherever you are. And how does one pronounce D''YQUEM? Is the Y silent? Because I'm assuming since it's apostrophe Y, you have to separate it from the D. Is it D''YQUEM?
David,
Right.
I literally would probably put it into Chat GPT and ask. I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah,
When you get into French wines and pronunciations, I am a mess. I prefer California wines. Do you know why? I can pronounce all the words.
TJ from the Floormeisters
I'm
says,
texting with them right now.
Says apparently Augusta has a phenomenal sticky toffee pudding.
Okay. Well, the one thing about Augusta, apparently there's no menu when you're in the clubhouse. Now, I don't know if it's the whole clubhouse or if it's just because you've heard players talk about it. What would you like? There's no menu. I want a hamburger. I want a grilled cheese. They just make it for you. Because, you know, I've seen some clips like, what's the most surprising? It's that there's no menu. They just make whatever you ask them to make.
Can I get some egg salad? You know, wouldn't you like to just be there one time and go, so you got any onion rings?
So I did have a guy reached out because I sent a mass text about sponsoring, and a guy reached out, and we'll see if he does anything. But unfortunately, his sister passed from cancer a few years back. His brother-in-law works for Penelope Bourbon, and they were high school sweethearts, and he was with her the whole time. She had 3 different kinds of cancer and then passed. But he got with the people, the higher ups, and now they make a bourbon for her and give money to cancer research or whatever from it. But he sent me the face clip reel. It was pretty cool. He's actually sending me a couple bottles. And I told him, when I can drink again, you and I will sit down and have a toast. But that same guy, the brother-in-law, is the one that hooked up with Bud Elliott. And that's why Bud had the Penelope Bourbon over his head. And apparently CBS said, yeah, that's it.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till Pat Kirwan joins us here on Miller and Moulton. For those not following us on twitch.tv or on the Miller and Moulton YouTube channel, where you get to see us do the show, and you also get to see and hear us and interact with us during the commercial breaks. I have a feeling for the rest of the show, I'm just going to be working on my wine pronunciations. Of course, the funny thing is, there seems to be very few people who can correct me. I mean, you know, by listening, I'm not pronouncing it right, but then you have to pronounce it right yourself. And you're like, well, hold on a second. I can do the first part of this process, but not necessarily the second.
Well, here's the thing, and here's what I'm thinking to move forward with this show. I don't think it's a once a week segment.
No,
but I think once a month we may do wine time with David. And I know because of one of our listeners in Twitch or YouTube, one of them, he's emailed me a bunch, and he is a chef, and he worked at a very high, I believe he worked at the French Laundry in Napa Valley, which is one of the best restaurants in the United States. It's an amazing place. Thomas Keller, I believe, is the main chef there, and it's literally regarded as one of the best restaurants in the world. So I think he can hook us up with a sommelier from a restaurant, maybe even his club or a restaurant in Southwest Florida. And what I would like to do is get a sommelier to send us a list of 4 or 5 wines, bring the som on the show, let you give your pronunciation, and then the Som can do his or her job to correct you or tell you if
Right.
you're right, and then give us a little bit on that wine. And maybe there's a sponsorship opportunity for you here, Total Wine. I just
No.
created a damn segment for you.
Well, and if that's the case, then I have been wanting to for years combine it with a segment called Yes, No, Maybe So. So, Mark, here's what I recommend that we do that. I give my shot at the pronunciation, and then you all vote yes, no, maybe so.
There you go. I like it. I like it. Miller and Moulton, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line is wide open. And obviously, always taking your comments. I was curious from Big Ten person. I laughed because, a Michigan alum jumps in there. You're damn right. Let's go Frozen Four. I'm like, we know you're excited. You just won the damn natty.
Well, right.
But I did get a Minnesota person who said, this is all fine, but if Wisconsin wins the Frozen Four, I'm really going to be bothered by that.
Right. I'm doing okay until it's a border state. Okay. Iowa, Wisconsin do something. I got a problem with that. The others I can kind of get on board with.
Well, and you think about it, you and I are college hockey fans, big college hockey fans, and always
Right.
have been. And I actually had a couple of texters yesterday when we brought up college hockey for a nanosecond that said, hey, don't think NIL is not killing that sport. I'm a Clarkson guy, and we don't have the money of the Big Ten schools. And if you think about it, David, the Minnesota guy, do they really want Michigan State or Michigan to win before them? No. But Michigan and Michigan State guy, in our brain, it's not the Big Ten conference. We still like most of us still like the CCHA better than the Big Ten in hockey. And for certain, and for damn sure, David, and you lived in this part of the world, you think Wisconsin and Minnesota would rather be playing in the Big Ten or the WCHA? And I'd bet my bottom dollar it's the WCHA.
WCHA. And UND is still the Fighting Sioux, and they're in it too.
So, I mean, for a for a Gopher hockey fan, there is nothing that bothers a Gopher hockey fan more than Wisconsin winning a natty. I mean, that's their rival. And I know UND's a rival too, and but Minnesota and Duluth is, they were always little brother. I mean, you understand that. For the Gopher fan to watch Wisconsin have success in hockey, that's because they're not there. That pisses them off.
Mark, it is difficult to explain. This is, I know, narrowing our audience, which we're not supposed to do. But the Minnesota hockey fan hates North Dakota. Hates North Dakota. They hate each other. That's a blood war. Then you got two other Big Ten teams, Michigan and Wisconsin. They don't really want to see them win. So the Golden Gopher hockey fan is going, well, I guess I got to root for Denver in the Frozen Four, because really any of the other three winnings suck.
And that's a remarkable program, because here we are, this little school. When you talk about the Clarksons of the world or the Cornells, who have had great hockey history and have won national titles, and they don't seem to be able to compete at the same level as, even now Penn State, who's jumped in and has all kinds of money. Denver's getting the money, and they're good teams. And it's a little school. And this is, I believe, if they have many other D1 sports, I don't know what they are.
Well, no, it's the number one sport at the school. I mean, they won natties 20, 25 years ago in college hockey. But yeah, I mean, for those that are into it, around the Olympics, and you watched, some of the 1980 movies and documentaries, and, what were those teams made up of? Those teams were made up of Minnesota Golden Gophers and guys from Boston College and Boston University. That was basically the three schools. Yeah, none of the three schools even made the college hockey tournament this year. I mean, this is the guts of this sport. And I think only one of them, Mark, was ranked in the top 20. Think about that. I mean, this is imagine college basketball. What do we think are the three of the four on Mount Rushmore? Okay. Kentucky, North Carolina, and pick somebody else. Okay. And imagine if none of those 3 programs were even top 20, couldn't even make the NCAA basketball tournament. So yes, in just 3 years' time, that's what's happened to that sport. And this is trickling down everywhere. This is softball, soccer, I mean, you name it. Listen, I'm not a big fan of the executive order, which we'll get more into tomorrow. Okay, some of our guests were actually at the championship game yesterday, and they said, listen, I'm going to get up early and fly out of town. So we're going to book 1 or 2 guests tomorrow to talk about the president's executive order and what it means for the future of the sport. I'm not a big fan of it. Okay. But can we just, like those, and I'm not going politics, but one of the examples is, with the economy, you just, hey, capitalism, and just go, let's have free markets. Go. And some people believe that's the best way to do it. And others are like, well, you can't just have, just everything be go. Well, right now, Mark, it seems like in college sports, until the executive order, okay, it was just the gates were open, the Bulls were running, and, they're going to keep running.
No, David, you're right. And it's an interesting thing, like how you brought that up. Because, yes, from a free market standpoint, most of us just say capitalism and go. But yet, the sports fan out there, and again, I'm not doing this from a political standpoint. I'm just doing sports.
Right.
From a sports standpoint, most all of you want a salary cap in baseball. We put a poll question up. It was like 80+% of you want a salary cap in baseball.
Right. That's not free markets.
We love the salary cap in the NFL.
Yeah.
It makes the sport the most popular sport in our country. And and I think that's part of the reason is that we go into every year. I mean, the Patriots went from a 4-win team to the Super Bowl.
Right.
You can't, it's harder to do that in basketball. It's hard. And there's a cap in basketball, but it's a whacked cap. It's certainly harder to do it in baseball if you're a small market team. So, and then to get to the final game. So and I believe most college fans out there want some sort of a cap. The college fans that I know that I'm in contact with regularly when I'm not here and I'm playing golf with these guys, the one thing they all hate is the portal.
Okay.
More than the NIL, the fan does not like the portal.
Okay. But they don't like it enough to stop watching.
No. I know.
In fact, if anything,
I would say, I'm for one transfer, one free transfer. I am. Beyond that, I don't like David. I'm not watching any less. But, my son and I are watching the game last night. He says to me, how many of these guys playing tonight are lottery picks? I'm like, I don't think any. I don't think, maybe late lottery. And then I looked up that Michigan had 2 guys that are potential first-round picks. Connecticut had 1. But there's a lot of transfers in there. And the lineup, this Michigan lineup looks vastly different than last year's Michigan lineup. And next year's Michigan lineup will probably look vastly different than this year's lineup. There was a time when we watched this tournament and we knew who everybody was. And we knew they were coming back. And then they went to the NBA and we followed them there. So I don't know what the right answer is. I would like to see a limit on transfers. I would like to see some sort of a cap. But make no mistake, and I don't know if we ever got into the transfer part as much, David, because I don't think we saw the transfer going this way. You and I were always for the guys getting paid.
Yeah.
But I don't recall us really talking transfers the way we talked about guys getting paid.
Okay. But here's the counter argument. Ben McCollum, head coach at Iowa, right? We all like him. Seems like a nice dude. Okay. He was asked, what's the basically special sauce to your program? And it's like, we're not soft here. If you want it easy, don't come here. And people were like, oh, I want my kid to play for Ben McCollum. Ben McCollum was at a Division II school for a long time. Then he spent 1 year at Drake, and then he went to Iowa. So he was at 3 different schools in 3 different years. Anybody have a problem with Ben McCollum? So that's why, to me, if you don't have a problem with Ben McCollum, like if you're not forcing Ben McCollum to stay a second year at Drake, okay, then I'm sorry. You can't make the kids stay or have to sit out a year. That's ridiculous.
And I've been the same on this opinion forever. The gray shirting thing that was not talked about. The fact that these guys are all essentially on 1-year deals and the school can get rid of them. The way to fix it is whether it's a 2, a 3, or a 4-year deal. And then if you sign a contract and you want to hold someone to it, they should do the same with coaches. We know they're not going to. I mean, this executive order was pretty much given to the president by guys who liked the old system.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
and not pretty much. It was totally given to it by guys that wanted the old system.
Nick Saban wrote this for President Trump. I mean, give me a break. This is all for the schools and the coaches. There's nothing in here that's for the athlete.
Right. And I think Tuberville had some help. And go look at his history of moving around before he became a senator. I mean, he got up from dinner while recruiting a player and left for another job.
Right. Didn't come back and pay the bill. I just got up and left, walked out of the restaurant.
So we are holding players to a higher standard than we seemingly hold coaches.
Well, we're holding them to a standard. I mean, no. We're not holding coaches and schools to a standard at all. But we're going to hold the athlete. I mean, to me, the court has ruled, man. This Supreme Court ruled 9-0 in favor of the athlete. 9-0. And I know this is unrelated, but we talked about it briefly yesterday. Mark, along these lines, if you're the NBA, crazy idea. You want to stop tanking? Get rid of the draft. What are you tanking for? Let's try it. Let's do 3 years. Everybody's got to play by a salary cap. What are you tanking for? I mean, you can't sign these guys if you don't have enough money. Hey, I'd like to sign you. How much can you offer me? I want more than that. Oh, well, next. What are you tanking for if you don't have a draft? That's all I got. That's the best I got for that one. Load management, I don't know. I really don't.
Because the owners are as guilty of it as the players. They're fearful of their prized possessions getting hurt, so they lean on sitting guys. I mean, we're watching. I don't know what the hell's going on in Milwaukee. You know, Giannis is saying one thing, the team's saying another. He's saying he wants to play. They're saying, I mean, it's crazy.
So, Miller and Moulton. Pat Kirwan. Now, we know the ground rules to his sport. Okay, they got a cap. They got a draft coming up. All right. They got rookie salary levels. All right. If you're cap compliant, you can pay for your picks, the whole deal. Pat Kirwan, NFL radio. He's coming up. Jason Carmello to put a bow on the college basketball season in about 45 minutes. Hey, thanks for listening to Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best,
Be Cape. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
PBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
When did the cap come in the NFL?
I thought it was 92, 93, because that's when free agency.
Yeah, I think the Niners were spending more, DC. It wasn't the cap thing. And they did a lot of extras. Pat's in. Don't know if you're texting him, but he just popped up. Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, fellas.
How are you?
David, you shaved, David. You look 10 years younger today.
Yeah, I was embarrassing. I let it go. I was starting to look like Letterman.
Did you have to go like electric shaver with the back end clipper to get that thing off to start? I mean, that was.
No, I just did razor.
Oh,
but it took a while. Like I listened to the whole Bat Out of Hell album. That's how long it took to shave it.
That was such appropriate music for what you were doing to yourself. How much bleeding?
2 nicks, believe it or not.
Oh, yes.
Just 2 nicks. So question. So did you go Arizona because you were sitting with so many Big Ten people you didn't think you'd be able to get Michigan? Or did you just choose Arizona over Michigan?
Well, Michigan was my second choice
right
at the time. And the guy who had Michigan was his first time in it. And he's a banker, nervous as could be, and was afraid to do a transaction with me. Like we say, you can't make trades in the NFL with people that are not deal makers. He was like petrified.
So you couldn't get your hands on Michigan, which kind of forced you to go Arizona.
No, I wanted Arizona, but I told my brother who had Arizona, I said, if you don't do it, I'm going right to Michigan, who was the guy next to him, who my brother turned to and said, one of his best friends, he goes, don't do any business with my father or my brother. He goes, no, you can't. My brother's going to tell you. And then the guy I got last year, Jimmy's other friend, I ended up winning the whole thing. And he's going, yeah, don't do any business with him. Yeah, it was fun to watch. I don't know about, we talk about NFL officiating. You tell me about NBA or college. College, they look terrible officiating the game. It's kind of another area of, are you kidding me? Basketball's the worst. They've let everything go in basketball. The game lost all of its. Anyone who's old enough to remember real basketball, they look at this and go, this is just, how about when they attack the basket? Anything goes.
You know what you should do? One of the Sundays that Steratore, you should talk to him because he was not just a college football official. He was a college basketball official.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he was
He's very good.
A lot of people thought he was better at hoop.
I think he loves hoops. Well, he's still the voice of, they go to him on the show, the game.
Right. But
I talk to Gene a lot. He likes to, he's bored. He's open most weeks when he's in the building, he's upstairs all by himself. And he's dying to talk to people. So he'll come down and I'm free to roam wherever I want. So we're in the middle of games.
Here we
I'll
go.
go sit with Gene for an hour.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
we are halfway home, at least in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. Final hour of the show in the 239, the Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Venice area, the Live Oak, Lake City, and surrounding areas. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's time for Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 6. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Top of the morning to you, Pat. How are you?
Top of the morning to you guys. All is good. I've had some interesting conversations in the last couple of days. It was funny talking to Alamanur yesterday, who had already played for John Harbaugh, and he was warning his teammates, this guy's all business, and he's not going to accept guys that give 100% in practice. Maybe that's what's scaring off Dexter Lawrence. Who knows? But he was very excited for what could happen, and he kind of laid it out that we lost a lot of discipline around here. The funniest thing, well, maybe not the funniest thing, but the most revealing thing he said was that our friends Scatterbo and Jackson are dead serious for all the goofiness that comes out of Scatterbo. He goes, you have no idea what the guy's like in the huddle or during a game. He is all business, and those two guys act way older than their age. So it was good to hear that for the Giant fans, David. That would be you. And it was optimistic to hear him. But I also talked to John Harbaugh last week, and he is not afraid to make changes. He's not afraid to take over a lot of things. I said, the ownership wanted you to do that. And so between a Lamanur conversation, and then I started laughing about Dexter Lawrence, like, hey, Dexter, we're not renegotiating with a guy 2 years left. We're not trading you. Just go back down to the locker room when you finally show up.
Well, you kind of answered my question, but I'll ask it anyhow. In regards to Lawrence, you said John Harbaugh is all business. Does that mean renegotiating isn't part of his DNA, or does it just mean, like you said, there's 2 years left, we ain't renegotiating yet?
Well, I'm glad you asked that way, because John really hasn't had power over that before. John has never been in that seat, but he desperately might be the wrong word. He embraces the idea of having say over a lot of things, and I think he's going to have any say he wants. And so he's a coach. And, I don't think John likes the idea of anyone who thinks I want to leave before I ever find out what it's going to be like under your rules. So I'd be surprised. And, if you ever trade him away, you all of a sudden upset the apple cart of what your ideas are in the draft, which leads me to this question I asked myself and I asked Jacob yesterday. Delane, Love, and Downs, those three guys, how high could one of them go? That's what I've been thinking about. These are very good players that I got a lot of positive feedback from people. And I'm starting to ask myself, are they at least Can one of them get to number 5? Can any of them get to number 4? They when you talk to these coaches and GMs off the record, those 3 names come up a lot.
Well, I mean, we've seen running backs go. Barkley went 2, Fournette went 4. I mean, we've seen running backs crack the top 5. Genti went 6 last year. I mean, I think it's possible. If I had to bet on one of the 3 of them cracking the top 5, I'd bet on the running back.
Me too. And then the 5 spot where the Giants are is an interesting spot. And that's why you don't get rid of or give Dexter Lawrence his wish. It's voluntary, so don't say anything. I learned that a long time ago. You don't even conflict the voluntary stuff. You don't talk about it. It's not your business because he's not. You know how they're going to talk. Well, he's not in the building. We have nothing to say. But Alamanur was pretty clear with me about how John will view everything everyone does while he's building the Giants or rebuilding the Giants. So it'll be fun to watch how that team's been on my mind the last couple of days.
Well, and Delane might have been a top 5 guy without the injury. So really it just takes one GM to take a chance there, right? I mean, he's a corner that without the injury, he's a top 5 guy, right?
Yep. And cover corners like this. And I do think there's a fall off to the next corner because McCoy's had his own share of his medical things. But, I mean, Delane ran 4.38. And people did throw at him, and he knocked down 11 of them. So it's interesting to talk about him as well.
Well, here's, to me, an interesting dynamic. You brought up the difference for Harbaugh now, where, yes, he's the coach, but he's in charge of the organization. I mean, Joe Shane answers to him. Don Aponte answers to him. He answers to the owner. That's it. Okay, with that in mind, when he was in Baltimore, I mean, that organization twists itself into knots for Lamar. I mean, Lamar didn't have to show up for anything that Lamar didn't want to show up for. And John Harbaugh always had Lamar's back publicly.
Correct.
So it'll be very interesting how now that he's in a different role, because John Harbaugh answered to everybody in Baltimore, and now he answers to virtually no one. A, that'll be interesting. But B, Lamar's doing it again. And listen, nobody can give authority a hard time like me. Okay. So, I know I would say to a boss, what part of voluntary are you having trouble understanding? With that in mind, though, this is only his second coach, new system, new offense. Okay. Isn't this one of those times when if you're a friend of Lamar, you say to him, hey, if you show up for one voluntary camp in your life, this needs to be the one you go to?
I don't think he listens to any of that stuff. I like Lamar. He's a great guy. But Lamar listens to Lamar. And Lamar has been handed contractual requests to the point where he doesn't really fear the discipline of that. And he showed up yesterday. That doesn't mean he's going to stay long. And I think if he hears anything about this offense in a meeting with the OC and he doesn't like what he hears, he'll just get in his car and leave. And they can't discipline over it. Look, I asked John about things. He said, look, he was okay about leaving Baltimore. He wasn't happy, but he said, well, I explained clearly what had to happen if you wanted me to be your coach. And if you didn't want that, then you didn't need me. And he said, I walked out and that was the end of it. We had 18 years together. It was great. He was very at peace with the whole thing. But now he's in a different place. And I don't think he's looking back at it, but it may come back to haunt those guys. At some point, I always say this, Mark, if Lamar was in New York and unable to really crack the ice on the postseason, they would have run him out around. They would have never approved of paying that guy. But there's a love story with Lamar. I like a lot of things about him. He is a wonderful human being when you spend time with him. He's been very generous with his time when I've asked him to be, but he's kind of like a spoiled child now.
Yeah, but
right?
the city loves him. You know that.
Yeah.
He's everywhere. They love him. I've been to Baltimore a lot the last 5 years. Never met any person anywhere, restaurant, hotel, street, you name it. Nobody has a bad thing to say about Lamar.
No, but I want to compare him to Eli for a second. Eli won 2 Super Bowls, and he didn't have that kind of reception in New York. So how would Lamar, Mark, have reception in New York if he's never won the big game?
Well, you two are the 2 New York guys. To me, I'd say if he was a Jet, they'd love him. If he was a Giant, it might be different. I mean, because we're talking about now that the Buffalo Sabres have qualified for the playoffs. This is the longest drought in major professional sports. So I think the Jet fan right now would just take a couple of times to the postseason, but that's just me.
You know, being a Steeler guy and a Lion guy, you know, what
I'm
a
an
way to get out
NFL
of
guy,
that
Pat.
question.
You know me. I don't have a team. I want the 2 best teams to play one another. I want greatness. And,
Okay.
and I love greatness. So I root for Lamar to be great because when he's at his best, he's great. But I understand all the shots. You know, I love Joe Burrow. He can't stay healthy. That, you know, I don't know. You know, right now the NFL doesn't. They act like they don't love great, but great sells. And you know, with the Chiefs taking a step back, I don't know where greatness is right now. There's a lot of really good. You know, Seattle lost players. Were they great? I don't know if there's greatness right now in the NFL, Pat.
Well, let me ask you a question. Isn't that what the NFL wanted when they went
Oh,
to
yeah.
the CBA?
Absolutely.
They actually bragged about it in the early days in the meetings. I went to all those meetings. And I thought they were totally, oh, yeah, no more dynasties. And they kind of smiled about that. And then what happened? The Patriots became a dynasty. In a lot of ways, the Chiefs became a dynasty. But they said, we're never going to have any of those things. And we've had 2 of them. And if you're really good with your money and you're drafting, you can still get to a dynasty level. And maybe Denver's getting there. If you go look at how they only re-signed their own guys and signed 1 good player. And I thought they were the best team in the AFC last year. So they dropped the ball on getting to the Super Bowl. They would have given, I'll tell you what, they would have given the other guys a better game.
Well, it's interesting. Belichick, obviously, championship coach, occasionally got in his own way, usually as general manager. Andy Reid, championship coach, occasionally gets in his own way because he's very stubborn about who he picks for his offensive line and not wanting to run the ball. But they both had legendary quarterbacks that could cover everything up. This is where Sean Payton is more arrogant than Belichick and Reid combined. Okay, Bo Nix might have to cover for him for them to become the next dynasty. Don't you think? 1 minute.
Yeah, I also think that you can throw Pete Carroll in with the back-to-back to Super Bowls. All 3 of those guys had final say over the rosters. What's that tell you about how you build a football team? No interference from a guy who's not coaching them. Those guys ran their football rosters. And yes, there was great quarterbacks, but at the end of the day, you have to have a full football team. And the 3 guys that had clear say of how to run the team landed up with the dynasty operations. And so I think the Giants, with giving John clear say, it's about time that he has it too. Andy Reid didn't have it really in Philadelphia. You know, he didn't. Joe Banner was there, and they had a lot of things going on. Belichick never had full say anywhere else, but he gets to New England, and because of the way things went, Bob Kraft gave it to him. And so I do think there's something to be said for a veteran coach to give him the chance to run the whole thing, and we're going to see it from Harbaugh.
He's Pat Kirwan. More with Pat on the other side on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. AmericanPaintSupplies.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, went with Arizona. Someone told you to go with Michigan, Pat.
Yeah, I know, but I took into account your inability to be objective.
That's fair. Well, but I hate Michigan. I'm a Michigan State grad. That's my least. I want them to lose all the time. It was funny. My son's here as my caregiver right now, and
I saw him go by.
Yeah, we're watching. He had to make my breakfast for me. It's pretty fun bossing him around. I haven't been able to do that in quite a while. But
Nice.
We're watching the game last night, and he goes, "So you're going to give David grief because if Michigan wins?" I said, "No, I'm going to give Kirwan grief."
Thank you. Yeah, you couldn't wait for 8 o'clock.
I was so excited.
Well, it's always
Now it's
fun.
Everglades season for you, Pat.
Great. They're really playing well right now. It's really after all these years, I see it's almost predictable their behavior.
Mm-hmm.
How they build this thing into something almost twice as good as it was at the beginning of the season. And they move that roster, you know it better than anybody, but they are very active with the roster.
Well, a couple of things happened. One, I think the game's changed to Craig's liking because Craig never really, he liked skill over toughness, and he's got a little bit of toughness, but the game's gotten more skill-based, so it fits what he likes as a GM, so I think that helps him. But I also think he's figured it out over the years of what he needs for a playoff team. And the fact of the matter is he's got literally a top 5 all-time minor league goaltender.
Yep, which is the most important piece. Who is actually in the postseason even better than he is during the regular season. He plays a lot of games.
Yeah, he may end up being. I was looking, like I said, because Cassio was going, is he the best ECHL goalie of all time? And I looked, because I was in the league a long time, and he's not yet. But man, he's really close. He wins one more, he might be.
Yep, and he's a good guy and all that business. But they are, to your first point, they are such fast skaters now. They are different on the ice. They get these 3-man breakaways, and they're flying. Yeah, some of the big old slugs that started the fights aren't even on the roster.
No, the game's kind of eliminated them, even at that level.
Yep,
which is crazy, but it's the truth.
Well, I think the coach deserves a lot of credit here.
Yeah,
He's been around a long time. He's got more and more say in personnel every year.
I did say the Cowher's son-in-law, who works for the NHL, who was in the league for a while. He said his name's on a little bit of a short list. People know all about him.
I can't believe he's still there. I really can't.
Yeah, me either.
I think
I
he
don't know.
needed to leave just to get out of the league. I think he needed to get to a higher level if he's ever going to get to the NHL, but we'll see.
Yeah, my friend
Probably.
Derek Damon, he was the head coach of the Iowa team, and he left last year, voluntarily left. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm going to go take one of the elite junior teams." And he said, I want to be known as a guy that can work with the young ones. He goes, they're bringing a lot of young ones in all the time. So he thought it was a good step for him to do it. I don't know hockey well enough, but it felt like a step backwards. But he said enough with the ECHL team, and he wanted to move on from it. I don't know. That was his answer to me. I was asking because I just didn't understand it.
And I forget who it was in the chat room, but yes, I shaved for Easter. I didn't want the Easter pictures with me looking like Grizzly Adams.
Well, you did a good thing. What else is going on in your lives, Bellis? How are you feeling, Mark?
I feel good. Good. It's the same old thing. They had a couple of issues with certain numbers, so I've been doing labs every day again, but takes 2 seconds. So, and they've straightened it out. They adjusted my medication, so everything's doing what it's supposed to. I'm on track to get home in a month.
Wow. How's your weight? You look like you haven't lost any weight.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He joins us twice a week for the guts of the NFL season, which keeps getting longer and longer. Courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. Pat and all our guests joining us on the American Paint Supplies hotline. All right.
Well, there you have it. Excuse me. Bless you.
Usually it waits for commercial breaks. It was
I know.
This time. All right. 16 days before the draft, where are we as an organization? If I walked into your room, what's going on?
Everyone's locked down, all the scouts. You can't, if I've called a couple of guys I needed to talk to, and I get text messages back. Locked up in the room, I'll call you at dinner time. So it's they're bearing down on the board, and they're trying to basically take all the information they have. They still have some loose ends, which they'll send the young guys out to do. Maybe someone needs a one-to-look test or whatever. But in general, they're just working on the board, and they're starting to come up with strong opinions about the strengths and weaknesses of the draft. And free agency, for all practical purposes, is over, which we talked about last week. So, yeah, it's all draft talk, and it's all strong stuff. I was asking about a young guy that I know, who knows family well, and I said, well, I'll throw it out to my friends and see what they think, and just give me the off the record, what do you think of this kid? And so 2 teams got back to me last night at dinner time, and they were both. It's interesting. I know they don't talk to each other. They both had the same opinion of this guy, and they've already classified him as a 6th or 7th rounder. And so he's locked in now, which kind of tells you if you're already working on that part of it, you've probably done a nice job getting the top of the board cleared up. And that's why I asked you about Downs. When I ask guys, I go, who do you excite? One guy said to me he thought Downs was the best player in the draft.
Well, that's kind of where when you went down to Lane and Love, those guys, from what I'm reading, Pat, and I know you've met these guys, you're in much more contact with people than I am. But I look at a bunch of mocks. Those guys all seem to be top 10 guys.
Yep.
Bain, you said in your mock, dropped. The top 5 looks to be damn near set. Who's a surprise that is not in top 5s right now that could move up? And who's a guy in the top 10 that's most likely to move down?
Yeah, well, that's always the case, right? So I'm with you on the top 5 to 10. I'm not so sure about the receivers. Like Tate has bounced around for us, but he lands up usually around 7, 8, or 9, or 10, right in there. But I also get people saying, I don't know. I always ask the same question. Do you guys think any of these receivers are a true one? Not really. And so I think the receiver is a vulnerable spot. Fano, there's a guy. Fano sometimes earlier, a month ago, was going in around 6, 7, 8. He might be moving down a little bit now. So I think of him that way. Here's the name that comes up, but in all over the place is Akeem Mesidor. Sometimes I hear guys tell me, top half of the first round. Other guys saying top of the second round. So Akeem Mesidor to me is a guy that I haven't figured out, and I'll wait another week or so before I start asking guys about him. I don't know how you pass Sadiq earlier than people think, because this is a rare bird. He's got all kinds of reasons. When people tell me we need a wide receiver, I just take Sadiq. He's faster than the wide receiver. He's bigger than the wide receivers. And you can line him up anywhere.
Well, Mark was the first one in our on-air discussions to link Sadiq with the Bucs. It was a spot and a player that just intrigued him. And then he started seeing mock drafts that actually were matching up with his intrigue. So what we're kind of wondering, Pat, is will there be, in your estimation, an impact edge still on the board at 15? Because then if not, he's probably the highest ranked guy on the board, and in theory you take him. But if you're at the Bucs, do you think an impact edge will still be on the board at 15?
Well, no. I think it depends on how you see a couple guys. Like, everyone's already tagging Arvell Reese as an impact pass rusher. I don't know how you do that. He's a great player, and he's going to go 2, 3, or 4. But so if he's on the list of impacts, okay. Bailey is an impact player. You guys like Reuben Bain. To me, we'll see. But because it kind of falls off pretty quickly, that's maybe why Mesidor's up there in the minds of some. What are you going to do if the other 3 or 4 are gone and Mesidor's there? You're going to skip him, knowing you'll never get him in the second round? And then after that, you start talking about guys like T.J. Parker and Zion Young. I was with Zion, nice player, but I don't know. He could be a 5 or 6 sack guy. So what's an impact pass rusher? I think it's going to fizzle out pretty fast when you start thinking about how things are going to come off. Here's a guy last one that I'll throw out at you. Man, do I get mixed reviews on Peter Woods.
What about the Auburn kid Falk, Pat?
I like him. His production wasn't very good, but he's big. If you're a 3-4 front, you kind of like guys like that. You like him as the 5 techniques. He's got pass rush skills, but again, is he going to be good on opening day? Might take a while, but he's definitely going in the first round. But I think his size is saving him, and otherwise production, he wouldn't be going in the first round.
See, and you know how we're going to start doing mock drafts, and you and Jacob Hester on the show are already doing them, but like, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but Kansas City at 10 and Miami at 11, I think they could be in very interesting spots where their phones are ringing like crazy, because I think an edge is going to fall and be there at 10 or 11, or maybe the best corner is going to fall to 10 or 11, something like that, where a team is going to call those two, the Chiefs or the Dolphins, and be like, I need to move up. And I wonder if one of those teams is Tampa. If they get an impact defensive player, do they have to move from 15 to 10 or 11? Kind of like all those teams that have had to trade up recently to make sure they get one of the impact tackles.
I hear you loud and clear, and it would be fun to watch. But let me ask you, since we're talking about Kansas City, Cincinnati, even Miami, but Kansas City and Cincinnati, if your boy Reuben Bain is there, how do they move out of the spot to sell it to Tampa Bay? Don't they need a pass rusher? And if he's the 4th pass rusher and 3 are off the board, why would they move down? I think that conversation is going to have to happen. But well, I think the other one about Kenyon Sadiq, because it does it kind of tags to Tampa Bay. I think Baltimore, if he's at 14. I think if you have Lamar and he likes throwing the tight ends and Andrews is old and Likely's gone, how the heck would they pass on Sadiq?
And Pat, on Kansas City, if you're sitting there at 9 and it's the second tackle or the fourth edge, where do you go?
Well, Andy calls the shots, and Andy's been trying for tackles for a while, but on the other side of that, and he's got a bunch of young guys that have not blossomed, and maybe he's frustrated, but he also has a defense that's dire need of pass rush. And, you know, he's got to stop thinking Spags can come up with a plan all the time. He needs some rushers, and he needs to not be playing Chris Jones the whole game, which we've talked about many times. What they should take a lesson from the Saints and how they handled their old timer, cut down his workload and up went the production. Chris should be fresh on third downs. He is a problem for people to block, but if he's out there for the rundowns, he's already being conservative in his effort on first downs.
That's one way to put it. He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's moving the chains, weekdays 3 to 6. All right, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pat, all the best. We'll talk to you on Friday.
Very good, fellas. This week, 2 mock rounds of mock draft for us. So it's going to be a Thursday first round, Friday second round.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It was not a work of art last night, but
Well, for UConn to be competitive in that
That's right.
game, you knew it wasn't going to be.
That's
It couldn't be. If that game had flow to it, they were getting whacked.
that's exactly right. It was the perfect storm that Hurley and team created. And some of these statistics are just crazy, and still Michigan won.
Exactly.
You guys been doing well?
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing okay.
Good.
Like most in this industry, like I'm sure you know, we could always use some more sponsors.
Yeah.
Okay. But,
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, we think the show's fairly solid.
Yeah. I listened yesterday. You guys had some good guests yesterday. You guys always do.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. We're very lucky about that.
Well, you guys are good guys.
We've
You guys are
developed
good
some
guys.
good relationships, and honestly, Jason, you've been great. The feedback
Thank
we've had on you has been absolutely fantastic.
Awesome.
I know.
Well,
Maybe it's like Sally Field at the Oscars 50 years ago.
Yeah,
They
right.
like me. They really, really like me.
yeah. Well, thank you guys. I still owe Mark something because the Michigan State game, I had Michigan State. I don't know what they just didn't shoot the ball well. But
No, they didn't. They were terrible. I'm a Michigan State grad. I love my Spartans. I don't like Izzo's offense.
yeah.
When you watch Hurley's offense and the movement, man, even though they didn't make shots last night, what they're going to do, and those guys still get open. It amazes me.
Yes.
And yet that UConn Michigan State game was 61-60 with a minute to go.
That's what I mean. I was watching the game last night. I thought of you guys, and I was like, I told my son, I said, Michigan State should have beat them. Like they were better than UConn.
Well, and they put two guys on the line for UConn who can't shoot free throws, and they went 4 for 4.
That's right. That's right. But they also gave him a 15-point head start.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it got to 19 at one point.
Yep.
And then the kid from Michigan last night, who's not a good free throw shooter. He missed one late, but I think he was 5 of 6 before. Then he ended up 6 of 8. So.
Yep.
Yeah, they were what, 25 of 28 from the line?
Yeah, almost perfect. Almost perfect.
We were discussing earlier, we think that the brand new basketballs and the brand new tight rims are in a football stadium are a bad combination for offense.
That's exactly right. Yeah, Illinois would agree with that. A 3-point shooting team in a dome was a dangerous combo with the new balls and rims. That's exactly right. You could tell Wagler was really struggling with it.
But Michigan was unbelievable against Arizona from behind the line. So it's,
Yep. Yeah, some of these numbers last night. I'm sure we'll talk about some of these statistics.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, and we'll get there thanks to Jason Carmello. Big Underdog blog. He's also part of Bustin' Brackets. You can follow him on X. A great handle. Big Underdog blog. Jason, David, and Mark, thanks for doing this. Good morning. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, if I were to tell you, if I would have you didn't see the game, and I says Michigan scores 69, Michigan's 2 of 15 from beyond the arc. There is a 10 rebound on the offensive glass margin in favor of Connecticut. Connecticut out rebounds them for the game. Would you have bet Michigan won that game?
No, because teams don't do that, right? And Michigan's saving grace it's a great question, Mark. The answer is no. Michigan's saving grace was they were able to get UConn in foul trouble, and they were 25 of 28 from the free throw line. That was their only saving grace to make up those points, because like you said, and those are exactly my notes. If you give up 20 offensive rebounds, you lose in college basketball. It doesn't matter how good you are, you lose. And UConn was the first to the punch on all the loose balls. UConn did exactly what they had to do. They muddied up the game they muddied up the game. They kept it in the 60s. They did everything perfect, and they still lost. That's how good Michigan was.
That's how good their defense was, because UConn couldn't put the ball in the ocean while standing in it. Listen, I don't care about awards, but I thought Mara was the guy for Michigan. I listen, the other guy was terrific, but Mara inside in both games, I mean, he did something to Arizona that nobody did to Arizona all year. And then I thought that he influenced everything near the basket for UConn. They shot 31%.
Yeah. And you could tell every time UConn's guards got penetration, they just kind of tossed it as high as they could, and the ball had no chance of going in. I think Mara was the most improved player throughout the year in college basketball. And part of that's Dusty May. I've said all year, Dusty May is if I was starting a basketball program, I start with Dusty May and I go from there.
Really?
He is tremendous. He is tremendous at evaluating talent. I mean, when you can take a Florida Atlantic to a Final Four and you can evaluate and have high major talent in this portal era, he's that good. Yes. Mara was a good player, but at times didn't even start last year for Mick Cronin and UCLA. He came over, and like you said, he was the most improved player in the country, and he was just dominant inside. At times, he was like the big kid at recess, right? Like, where did this guy come from? Because you just throw the ball up, and his hands are above the rim, and he just dunks it in. His size and length was like you said, it was too much inside, and he basically neutralized. It's interesting. He didn't neutralize not only UConn's bigs, but also their guards. They couldn't get anything inside.
Yeah, I think you're both right on, because as good as Mullins is, he's such a great shooter. He was lost driving to the basket, trying to put those floaters in. And those are shots that kid makes. I mean, he's going to be a first-round pick in the league. He's a good player, and he was so influenced. I think the other thing about Mara that I don't know if it goes unnoticed, but on top of what you said, Jason, one, he's got pretty good feet. He gets it up and down the court rather quick. I mean, he can run. For a guy that's that big, to run the court the way that he does, and yes, he catches and dunks, but those passes, they were hard passes in both the Arizona game and in that game. I mean, these are not easy balls to catch. I thought he's got pretty good feet, and he's got really good hands for a big man.
Absolutely. Some of those, the Spaniard bigs, and, you've seen Illinois go overseas and have a lot of European bigs. And when they come over, to play college basketball, this is always the goal, that they'll kind of sprout and become a player like this, because if they do, they dominate the game. And that's exactly what happened. Also, Morez Johnson, transfer from Illinois, his motor last year at times was questioned by Brad Underwood. He was playing tremendously hard. The two of them together, inside Mara and Johnson, and they didn't always play together throughout the season, but last night they did. He was tremendous inside as well.
Jason Carmello, Big Underdog Blog and Bustin' Brackets. Follow him on X at Big Underdog Blog. All right, getting back to the Dusty May thing. If you think he's that elite, like I would take Patino over everybody, but you would take Dusty May. And, hey, I think we could both be right. They're obviously both amazing. Okay, but it gets interesting. Even though Michigan is never going to lack for money, but everybody's going to have to make calculated decisions here between football and basketball and this and that. If he's that great of an evaluator, think about what he just did. He took the kid from UCLA who had gotten benched. He took a UAB kid. Okay. He took the Illinois kid who basically Underwood was like, you can leave. I mean, if you think about it, if he doesn't have to pay $4 million for the 5-star, but he can take guys and win the bidding for them and then get the most out of them, that's also making your dollar go the furthest. Now, Michigan spent top 10 payroll this year, but it bodes really well for them in the future.
It really does. And he's already established that he's not chasing another job, right? With the North Carolina wanted him, and he said, no, thank you. I've got what I need here. That's exactly right. Lunenburg from UAB and a lot of these other players, They were kind of cast-offs. They were good players elsewhere, but they were not great players. Cadeau was basically run out of North Carolina, and he wasn't able. None of these players could reach their potential until they played under him, and that's coaching. And he has everything he needs. Obviously, Michigan has the resources, like you said, and he has some youth behind him, right? I mean, he should be able to do this for a little while longer, and he has a really, really good demeanor about him. I went to the Big Ten Media Day a couple different times last couple of years, and he has a really good way about him. People respect him. People gravitate towards him. He has a really good communication ability. He doesn't mince words, but he's always really respectful to the people around him, and that really bodes well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. When he was at FAU, we had him on the show several times. He was great to us, and we echo your sentiments on that. All right. I think we could talk about UConn and the job Hurley's done for a long time, but I do want to move on because there's a lot going on in college basketball, particularly with that North Carolina job. Mike Malone gets the job. This is a guy that's basically been in pro ball his whole life. I mean, a couple of stints at Providence, Manhattan, and Oakland as an assistant, a generation ago. So this is a pro guy who's a no-nonsense guy. At North Carolina, I actually had someone in our chat room said something, well, he's just got to get to the second round his first year. Well, that doesn't fly to Tar Heel fan. It's, it's not only a Sweet 16, it's beyond that. It's being a 1 or a 2 seed. It's being right there with Duke. Can he do it in year one? And how much of a learning curve is there for a guy who's been a pro guy most of his life to come into the college game?
Yeah, really good question. This is as close to pro as college has ever been, right? We know that. Yeah. So he's, you're paying the players, they're coming in, heck, Michigan had 5 transfers and 5 new starters. So it's possible, but there's still something about that. It is still collegiate basketball, right? There's still something about that. And he really gets on his players. He'll get on the refs. He gets on his players. He drives them hard. That tends to work really well when you have an established track record at that school. Hurley can be Hurley because of what he's done, right? But it takes a while for that type of mentality to really seep in and be a part of the culture of the program. I think he can be successful. They're going to have a lot of top end resources, but like you said, Sweet 16s are kind of the low bar for them, and so it's a really, really, really hard. It's a really hard job. I've said over the last couple of weeks on some of the radio spots, blue blood jobs are not necessarily blue blood jobs anymore. Like, I understand that, but BYU right now is just as good of a job as Kansas because BYU has as much money as they could possibly need. And so you just don't see people navigating to some of these blue blood jobs. Ben McCollum stayed at Iowa. He said, no, thank you. I'm going to coach at Iowa. And he's from there, but I'm going to coach at Iowa over going to North Carolina. You just didn't see that 15, 20 years ago.
No, you would have been laughed out of the sport, actually. If you had done that, people would have wondered what was wrong with you. Listen, I've been following what's going on at Syracuse closely because I got a lot of friends with ties to that program. And Jerry McNamara has been in the sport, and yet he barely got a GM and a staff hired before the portal officially opened this morning. I mean, Mike Malone is a newcomer to college sports. I mean, Belichick's big mistake, a lot of people believe, was hiring Michael Lombardi. Okay, that might have been great on Sundays. He doesn't know nothing about the landscape in college. I mean, that's if you're Mike Malone, who do you hire as your general manager? Who do you hire to be your assistants? You can't hire NBA guys.
Yeah, that's the concern, right? I think it's crazy that Carolina went back to the same model that they're using in football, just like you mentioned, David. And that was the first year, I'd say, borderline disaster. Now they'll stay with it. They gave Belichick all that money and his team all that money. So we'll see if it gets a little bit better in year 2. Their standards are, exponentially higher in basketball. And so it's a really tough job. I think, how he'll do is almost impossible to predict, right? It's almost possible because his roster is going to be completely different. How can he establish the roster? And he's going to have to bend a little bit. You see these coaches, you got to bend a little bit. Everybody loves Izzo, but all the players love him. You can't just ride these guys all the way because you won't be able to establish a culture, and no one will stay year 2, year 3, year 4.
With that being said, Michigan brought in all these transfers. We know they've got the money to keep them. What are you hearing? Are they going to be able to keep the guys? I mean, they got a couple guys that are going to the league. I get that. But of the players that can come back, is he going to keep them all?
I think they'll keep. From what I've heard, and it ebbs and flows by each day. I think they'll be able to keep a couple. I think they'll be able to keep a couple, a bit like Florida last year, right? Where you'll keep a couple guys, one or two may kind of leak out because Kentucky might buy them, right, or something like that. They'll keep a couple. They'll bring in, I think they'll keep 2 or 3. They'll bring in 3 or 4, and they'll go with it. A lot of these rosters are being built as basically 8 to 9 person rosters. Anything after that, they're just walk-ons, and they're barely funding it from NIL. So they kind of stop. A lot of these teams stop at 8 or 9 with actually funding players.
All right. A year ago at this time, it was the emergence of BYU. Okay, with the money, and they got AJ to commit and what have you. I'm curious, who are you hearing now? Who's emerging this off season?
Yeah, it's interesting. The Big East schools, right? The Big East schools are getting all of their ducks in a row because with revenue sharing starting to shift a little bit, they're able to allocate more basketball resources than they ever have been before. That's why the Providence, South Florida, the South Florida coach was a hot commodity, and he took the Providence job because basketball resources. I think St. John's is going to continue to kind of ramp up their resources. So you mentioned Pitino. I think St. John's is going to continue to spend even more because of the Big East dollars. These teams don't have football programs that take some of their money in terms of revenue sharing. And I think Big East is going to have more than 3 bids next year. So I've heard St. John's is really ramping up. A team like Providence is going to kind of surprise and spend more money than you would think. The Big East is going up a little bit. And I think some of these other Big Ten schools, when your rival goes out and does that, I know, Ohio State is already getting things organized to almost double their allocations. A lot of these Big Ten schools that are rivals with Michigan are going to start to spend some money as well.
Kentucky spent the most money.
Yeah.
It didn't work. Their philosophy before with getting with Calipari, getting all the freshmen, didn't work in March. So do they continue to spend the money they're spending, or do they try to get a little smarter about the money they're spending?
I think good question. I think Kentucky's going to continue to spend. I actually think what Kentucky did the first year under Pope, they were so heavily offensive. And he said, I coach offense. I'm going to bring my BYU players. We're going to be so skilled offensively. That was pretty good, but they had liability defensively. I think Pope completely mismanaged his roster this year. They went heavy into defense, and they couldn't score the ball. They couldn't shoot. They couldn't score. They had Chandler from outside, but he's not a prolific scorer. Owe was a really good player, but he wasn't a scorer and a shooter. He went all the way to defense. He mismanaged $22 million, mismanaged it, went so heavily in defense and said, well, I'm an offensive guru. I'll be able to figure it out offensively. Well, they didn't. He didn't have enough shooters. And all year it was a struggle on can they score enough to beat really, really good teams. I think Kentucky will continue to spend. That's their culture. They'll do it. But they're going to have a more balanced roster, or they're going to continue to have kind of second round knockouts.
Hubert Davis only got 5. Okay. I don't know if Pope gets more than 3 if next year goes, he's had a Sweet 16 and he's had a second rounder, and it should have been a first rounder. Yes. They got lucky. I mean, I don't know. He might be on the hottest seat in America at the start of next year. Jason Carmello, the Big Underdog Blog, busting brackets. Follow him on X at Big Underdog Blog. Hey, thanks for doing this. And hopefully we'll check in sooner rather than later.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys. Be well.
Jason Carmello joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
So Kentucky's going to keep spending. Not much of a surprise there, but I'm with you. Who could be possibly on a hotter seat than Pope right now? Seriously, in the sport.
I don't see it. Certainly not at a blue blood. Don't see it at all.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. floormeisters.com. CCC 1332512.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at americanpaintsupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
One of those FAU guys got drafted, but he transferred to the Gators and was on their title team last year, Elijah Martin. He was an early second-round pick last year. Now, a couple of the guys on those teams, signed undrafted free agent deals. One with Orlando. Somebody else is actually in the league now. I think it's with Toronto, but Mark, we don't have to do this on the air, but
Okay. But we can.
yeah, we could. I was
What
just
is it
thinking.
you want to not do on the air?
Well, you asked the question right there at the end, and there was only a few seconds. So after it was done, I just started thinking, and I don't know how much interest people would have in this, but what do you do if you're Indiana basketball? Like you mentioned, anybody on a hotter seat. I can't imagine. I mean, he's only had the job a short while, but I can't imagine they're happy in Indiana.
No, they're not, but you do get a little more grace when your football team's doing what it's doing. And I know they want basketball to be good, but if the football team was its usual 2-10, the seat would be hotter, if you know what I mean.
Well, totally. But then here's the other thing, though. You've got the Indiana fan going, for God's sakes, we just want a natty in football. We can't even be NCAA tournament bound in basketball.
I don't think it's as hot as Kentucky's.
I don't either.
Because of what I said and the fact that I don't think Indiana fan has just said, we don't care anymore. I don't think they'd ever say that, but I just think they're in that malaise of, holy crap, is this still going on?
Well, and also DeVries has been there a year, where Pope's been there too. But
DeVries had an absolutely empty cupboard too when he got
did.
there for the.
He did also. I mean, didn't his kid's eligibility run out? He couldn't even bring his kid with him, did he?
He did bring his kid with him
did he?
for this year.
Gotcha.
He was decent.
Yeah, he was tremendous, obviously, at Drake, and was good at West Virginia.
And I've got something I've wanted to get to for a couple of days and forgot yesterday. It's very small. It can be the next segment. It is. It's
okay.
trivial. It's not important at all. It's just fun.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, fast-moving first Tuesday show in April this year, Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's the bonus hour in Jacksonville and Tampa St. Pete. Thanks so much for being with us. Kicked it around with Pat Kirwan and Jason Carmello. If you ever miss any of what we talk about, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed. Usually we get everything uploaded by lunch. Okay.
It'll get better. Trust me. There are circumstances that have prevented me from doing the things I like to do. And it's not even where it's where I'm at, but I don't have the
equipment
resources
right.
that I once had.
Right.
So it's just technologically not as easy.
Right.
I'm buying new stuff. I've been shopping. I'm getting ready to go home because the studio's coming to the house, and I've been window shopping. I'm about to start buying, but I've been window shopping.
So I know many of you are used to, a few months ago, we would literally do an hour, post it right after it was done. Okay. Obviously things the last couple of months with Mark, being at Moffitt and then at Moffitt Housing. Okay. We've got other people that are doing it. They don't move as quickly. So I know some of you get frustrated from time to time because you used to have it instantly. And now sometimes you got to wait a little bit. But I mean, it's not like we're posting it tomorrow. But
well, in many people's eyes, we are, David.
Yeah.
But we'll do our best. We'll work on it. We're trying.
millerandmoulton.com. If you miss something, usually we get it to you lunchtime.
I'm trying to rename this hour. It was the bonus hour for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to call it the pro hour because we're in pro markets now. We're not in minor pro markets during this hour. We're in big boy markets. We're in Jacksonville and Tampa only for this hour. So it's the pro market. And I almost want to apologize to our Jacksonville audience because we did not ask one Jags question during our time with Pat Kirwan, but the Jags are one of those teams that don't have a first round pick.
Right. Yep. Traded it to be able to go get their hands on Travis Hunter. So Travis Hunter is their first round pick in this draft. And if he stays healthy, and they are going to now favor him more at corner than receiver, then, that would certainly be worthy of a first round pick. And as it turned out, I'll say this. I mean, when they made the pick last year, where did we all think Jacksonville was going to be drafting this year?
Right back where they were drafting last year.
or in the area code, right?
You know who thought that? The Cleveland Browns.
You're damn right they did.
They did not think the pick that they were sending or getting rather from Jacksonville was going to be pick 24.
No,
I think they thought at worst it was going to be, where the Bucks or the Ravens are, 14, 15, right?
At worst. Right. Uh-huh. Right.
So, and then Jacksonville re-signed Walker. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. And I was even going to ask Pat, we just got off on different subjects, what he thought of the signing, because I know one of our listeners who's a big Jags fan was upset about the signing. It's one of those where we kind of say when you fire the coach, who are you going to get, or you want to get rid of the quarterback, who are you going to get? You're really going to not sign Walker? I don't know. I think that's a necessary piece to that team. Now, they need him to play better. There's no doubt. But at his best, he's really good. Really good.
Also, the contract doesn't kick in this year. Contract doesn't kick in for another year. And then, I think the money, Mark, people see what's his average, 27.5, and they just go, man, oh man, that's a lot of money. And it is. However, the cap's at 302 now. Keeps going up 9 to 11%. Let's just call it 10. That means the cap next year is going to be 330 and change. And if his 27.5 kicks in, he's 8.5% of the cap. That's 1/12. In theory, Trayvon Walker is a double-digit sack guy. He was for 23 and 24. I mean, you don't think that guy is worth 8% of your cap?
But the Jags don't pick until pick 56. They do have 2 third-round picks for what it's worth. The Lions third. So they do have 2 picks in the top, 88. So, I mean, that's, for the things they need, David, they should be able to get them. They should be able to, if they want a running back, they should be able to get one there. Whatever it is you think that their need is, I think they're in a spot where they should be able to get players who can contribute next year.
And you have to remember that the young general manager came from where? The Rams. What were the Rams? What have they been famous for doing the last 10 years? Trading away their first round pick and having to keep a championship roster and then retool a championship roster without first round picks. And they've done a tremendous job at it. So this guy was part of that front office. He thinks, listen, when we need to, we can trade the first rounder and we can work around that. Trust me. We won a Super Bowl working around it, and we rebuilt the team on a fly with one losing season and lost Aaron Donald, drafting a lot of guys between rounds 3 and 5. So this general manager thinks he can do it without a first-round pick because he just spent a bunch of years at a place who did it.
And where did the Rams always pick in the first round? At the bottom end of the first round. And he thinks the same thing's happening with Jacksonville, where you're essentially taking second-round guys in the first round. So trading those picks for talented players is the MO of what he was brought up on. The Bucks, on the other hand, we've been talking, a little bit about the Bucks in the past week, whether it's Baker getting re-signed. They did bring in Kenyon Green for a workout yesterday, another offensive lineman who didn't play last year, but he's a former first-round pick of the Texans. The Bucks basically, in their spot, first 3 rounds for the draft. And we all know what their needs are. And David, I am fascinated by their draft. Do they go up? And can they move? I think the Dolphins are more likely. If I'm trying to move up, and sure, you're going to try with Kansas City, but with the Chiefs, I believe, think that they're going to be back right where they were a year ago. And they have specific holes to fill, where the Dolphins, to me, know that next year is not a year where they're going to contend. So trading down from 11 to 15 to get more assets makes, to me at this point in time, makes more sense for Miami than it does Kansas City.
Well, the short arm guy with the Canes All these mock drafts, I keep seeing them drop. And you know me, Mark, I'm losing my mind. Losing my mind about Reuben Bain Jr. I keep seeing him falling. I've seen him fall to the Dolphins in many a draft. I've seen him as a Dallas Cowboy. And that's why, another reason why, if I had to make a prediction right now and bet it, I think the Dolphins are trading at 11 because I think teams are going to want to get ahead of Dallas at 12. Jerry's, especially if you're, like he wouldn't take Reuben Bain. If Bain's on the board at 11, if you're Miami, you taking him or are you taking the best offer on the table and moving down? Let's just say it's from Tampa. Are you taking Tampa's best offer and moving down 4 spots, or are you staying and taking Reuben Bain?
I would move down 4 spots, but I wouldn't do it before calling the Cowboys and saying, I've got an opportunity for someone to trade with right now. Here's what I'm getting. Would you give us X? I would try to work Jarrett because I think Jarrett can be worked.
Well, it's definitely proven he can be worked.
So, we're starting to get fired up about the draft. I mean, it's kind of right where we flipped the switch yesterday, the National Basketball Championship, Michigan beating Connecticut, and Masters Week upcoming. We'll probably get a lot more into that tomorrow.
We will.
And, I like you, I'm starting to look at more mock drafts. Let me ask you as the Giants fan, if Love gets past Tennessee, and I have seen Tennessee taking him in a lot of mocks, and I've seen him going past Tennessee, would you take him if you're the Giants at 5?
Listen, I never give answers like this, but don't you just have to take whoever you think the best player is on the board? I mean, are you really so loaded? I mean, I'm being serious here. Cam Scattaboo was a 4th-round pick. Tyrone Tracy was a 5th-round pick. Don't get me wrong. I actually think they're more than capable, if healthy, of being, and they have a veteran running back as well who's part of the equation. I actually think it's a more than capable backfield. But if you think this is essentially the best player in the draft, and he's there at 5, I mean, don't you have to take him?
Yeah.
Can't Scattaboo be the RB2? You let the veteran walk, okay? You'll probably trade him as a courtesy to him, okay? And then Tracy's rookie deal's about to expire, I think, in a year. And you just keep him as the 3rd running back. He likes to run the ball, okay? It helps out. Here's the other thing. You know who led them in touchdowns last year, Mark? Dart. He had 9. Yeah, if I'm John Harbaugh, No. A guy's got concussion issues. Okay, I can't have him be the guy running down on the goal line. It's why I think it's in play for the Giants.
I do too. That's why I brought it up. So just to, getting excited about the draft because there's not a lot. I mean, we've got, Mendoza going 1. We got Love. We got Tate. After that, we got a lot of linemen and a lot of edge rushers going, gang.
Yep.
I mean, that's what we've got.
Yes.
In the first 10, you could have a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver. After that, there's a couple of wide receivers, the Arizona State kids in there. There's a couple of guys. There's the tight end from Oregon, but there are not a lot of skill guys. Will Simpson get picked by someone in the first round?
There you go. There you go. We're going to, like you said, the 3 sexy picks at the top, and then we're going to have an hour and a half of edge rushers and offensive tackles. And then, Mark, the rest of the first round, it's all going to be about will Cleveland, Pittsburgh, or the Jets take Ty Simpson? That'll be the whole rest of the draft coverage.
And the Jets probably hoping, if they're going to do it, that they can stay right where they are and get them with the first pick on Friday. The Pro Hour. Huh? Like the sound of that? I'm Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, I think you're missing, a couple of the teams there. I think it could be you're so sure that the Fighting Hawks, God, that's awful, are going to take Wisconsin. Wow, did not know this. Frozen Four has the top 4 teams in titles all time. Denver with 10, Michigan with 9, North Dakota with 8, Wisconsin with 6.
Wow.
I did not know that, and I would have never guessed Denver had the most NCAA titles. Never.
Oh, I know they went back to back.
I did too, but 10?
I know. The Pioneers, right?
Mm-hmm. Because I just had to look up who was playing who, because I didn't even know. The gap they spent between this is awful.
Yeah.
This tournament takes forever.
Yep.
And the Spit and Chiclet guys were all over the regionals that they should be basically home games for the top seeds. You had that one region with 3 Eastern teams out west. And you're not getting attendance, and I don't think they're off base with their comments.
I'm very curious whether or not Vegas is going to turn into Tampa without a beach.
I think it'll do well. I mean, come on, you're a North Dakota or a Denver fan. That's easy.
Well, no, it's why you and I think that Tampa should be either the permanent home or like if you got a 3-city rotation. I mean, there are no schools that play college hockey whose fan bases would not look at the Frozen Four and go, "Well, this is perfect." Fly down Wednesday night or Thursday morning, do the Thursday game, and if we lose, we spend Friday and Saturday at the beach and fly back Sunday.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
And if we win, well, we spend Friday and Saturday at the beach and we go to a hockey game.
Or this, as you say, with this one, we go to a show, we go to the casino, you go to the Sphere. I mean,
right.
There's day trips from Vegas too to, different things you can do. I mean, there's obviously a lot to do there. So,
right. I mean, on Friday,
I think obviously Tampa's more family oriented than Vegas, but
yeah,
a lot of people don't. So,
but yeah, hell, on Friday, you go to LA if you wanted. Mark, could you do the Frozen Four the Thursday, Saturday of the Final Four, but play the championship game at 3:00?
I mean, I just don't know with because the women's is Friday, Sunday. So yeah, you could.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. We just spent the whole commercial break talking the Frozen Four. We're pretty geeky. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. It's in Vegas, by the way. It starts Thursday. We think it should be in 2 cities, Vegas or Tampa.
And you could have it in those two and go back and forth.
Totally.
And I am curious because obviously we're on in Tampa this hour. For our Tampa audience, now there's a lot of you in Southwest Florida that join us on YouTube or Twitch, but for our Tampa audience, I would love you to text me at 20. And I say me because I'm the one that answers the damn text. You're texting us, but you're really texting me.
Right.
21,000 is the number. So much so that you're texting me that you have to pick the keyword Miller. But is that something in Tampa that you'd want every year? Because obviously it would put the Lightning out of town the last weekend of the regular season.
Right. Every year. Every year. Final week of the season, you got to play at least 3 games, at least 3, but probably 4. Probably a 4-game road trip late in every regular season.
Well, and I mean, they're hosting Detroit on Monday, so you could get them back by the Monday. But it's a weekend late in the season where your team has to go on the road, but you bring in a spectacular event that has sold really well in Tampa. I mean, it's sold out when it's here. It's turned into a big deal. I've had a lot of friends from Southwest Florida who have driven up for the Frozen Four. So I'm just curious, Tampa, is this something you want every year? 21,000 Pelican Roofing in Florida text line. One other hockey thing I had to go. Go ahead, David.
No. Go for it.
One other hockey thing I had to get to. Did you see what happened over the weekend in Edmonton?
No.
So we talk all the time about how tough hockey players are. And it really goes without saying when the playoffs come around there, David and I don't think not a knock on football players at all because they're tough as hell. But certainly compared to baseball or basketball players, and for that matter, soccer, we think the hockey player, they play through injuries that others would not. They just do. It's part of the mentality of the sport. Well, apparently the fans, particularly north of the border, will do things that the normal fan wouldn't do.
Okay.
Because on April 4th, while the Edmonton Oilers were playing the Las Vegas Golden Knights at Rogers Place in Edmonton,
that was Saturday, right?
a woman gave birth during the second period at the arena.
Whoa! Hey now.
So
Hey, now.
one, she was that pregnant that she went to the game.
Right.
At least, even if the baby came early, she is still there way late in the pregnancy.
Well, and just stop right there. How comfortable could she have been in those seats? I mean, seriously. Even if she was in a suite,
every once in a
goodness.
while, you see those women who are in terrific shape, and basically it's a basketball. I mean, you see them from behind, and they damn near look the same, and then all of a sudden there's a basketball hanging off the front of them. So I don't know. There are no pictures of the woman. They've somehow been able to keep this silent from the standpoint that we know, but we don't know anything about the baby. We know there's a couple of different bits of confusion that the baby may have been born on the way to the hospital, but the reports were the baby was born at the arena. There were so many jokes going on that, do they have these type of medical rooms, or was she in the locker room while a player was getting the ankle taped having a kid?
Honestly, as soon as she gets out of the hospital, she goes and addresses the Edmonton Oilers and go, hey, you guys got to raise your level of toughness, okay? I gave birth in the second period, all right? What the hell did you guys do? You guys lost at home to Vegas. Give me a break.
Well, there you go. Jack Michaels, the Oilers broadcaster, announced it during the game that this was going on. So this was known by the television audience. They showed her apparently in the crowd, or showed, where she was sitting, or whatever the case may be. You got to the other point. There are two things here. If it was a boy, do you have to name the boy Roger? Because it's the Rogers Center. Connor.
I was going to say, Wayne or Connor was kind of, Wayne, Mark, or Connor, I think, are the top three boys' choices, but continue.
But then the other side of this that you did just bring up. This baby is going to be, because there was a gal at the Washington Nationals game that was born not at the ballpark, but was born the day of the first Nats game.
Yes, which was 21 years ago.
Correct. They brought her out to take not the first pitch, but the first sip.
Right.
She took a sip of beer on her 21st birthday out on the field.
Right.
Well done, Nats.
Very
well done by you. That is
done.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So, okay, you're born at the Edmonton Oilers game. And obviously, if you don't follow hockey, you don't get this. But if you do follow hockey, you understand. There's only one team in Edmonton. There are two in Alberta. And so you're either a Calgary Flames fan or you're an Edmonton Oilers fan.
Right.
You're one or the other.
Right.
And probably an Edmonton Oilers fan, unless you live in Calgary, because let's be honest, the Flames have stunk for quite a while. Yeah, you were born at an Oilers game. You're also now 0-1. And you got your ass kicked.
I have so many questions. So I want to know, wait a minute. Usually these things don't happen in an hour and a half. Okay. Usually they take a little bit longer than that. So usually there's contractions. Okay. Were you having contractions on the way to the game? Okay. How quickly from the first contraction until ta-da, here I am. How long was that? I want to know. Did the water break at the arena? Second period? Honey, we got to go. Oh, no, wait till the end of the period. No, we got to go. I got questions I need answered.
So from the stories that I've read, David, they found out the broadcasters found out that it happened. She went into labor at the start of the third period, and the baby was born on the 7th floor of the arena. We do not know if it was a boy, if it was a girl.
Wow.
Do you go Leon for Draisaitl? Do you go Connor? Do you go Wayne? Do you go Mark?
Yeah, it's
Do you
weird.
go Roger for Rogers Center?
No.
If it's a girl, what's the name?
No, then here's why you don't go Rogers. Because my best friend named their only child, okay, middle name Shea. Big Mets fan, okay? And so he went with William, okay, middle name Shea. And so sure enough, first off, we all call him Shea, but he was named after the stadium. He was.
Right.
Okay.
What do they call that place now?
Well, as soon as the Mets left Shea Stadium, okay, to go to, and it's still called the same thing as it was when they initially moved there, to Citi Field, as in the credit card in the bank, I called my best friend and said, well, are we renaming the kid? Because they're knocking down the stadium.
So apparently this is not the first time this century that a child has been born at a major sporting event. Apparently in 2015, a woman gave birth at a Padres Giants game at Petco Park. The baby boy was born in the third inning. One of the nurses at the ballpark was also a midwife.
Wow.
So, one in San Diego, one in Edmonton. Congratulations to the parents. I can't wait till we get more news on this kid. I really cannot. I want to know what the damn name is.
Tell you what,
I think McDavid works as a first name. Why not McDavid?
Oh, you're even going McDavid, are you? You know, now listen, and I'm being serious for a second. I would say if we're naming it, I would go Wayne. Why? Wayne's retired. McDavid's got 2 years left on his contract after this. You don't want your kid Connor or McDavid and have him be a New York Ranger in 2029. Okay? You don't. So I'm going with Wayne or Mark because they're done.
And I'd go Wayne because, well, Wayne never won another title after leaving Edmonton.
Right.
That other guy, well, he may have won one somewhere. I don't remember the city that it was in, but I'm pretty sure he won another title somewhere else.
Plus, also, isn't it good the rest of the young man's life you could go, hey, get it together. We named you after the great one. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
There any Latin blood in the family? Is McJesus a good name?
Well done. Well done. I'm going with probably not giving the Edmonton thing, but maybe I'm judging.
Stereotyping, maybe.
Right.
The baseball game tonight's been canceled.
Oh, it already been canceled, huh?
Yeah, Toe just texted me.
Okay.
Because he had put you and Jake on the pass list.
Oh, all right. Well, tell him thank you.
I already did.
That sucks, but yeah, they're just not bothering to send him up to take the chance to have a 6 o'clock game start at 9 and get home at 1. I don't blame them. That's too bad. USF's been struggling a little bit lately.
And so is FGCU.
And because Jake checks there's like a mid-major ranking, and USF was pretty high on that, and now they've dropped off, and ECU's been playing well lately. I've got to believe, Jules, she had to stay till the end of the game and a little later. Now, it depends on when the ambulance was there. But, yeah, I mean, if the baby was born in the third period, you got to think she made it till game's end. If not, she had to make sure the ambulance put the game on the radio for her to go. Now the question is, am I lazy and not walk, or do I just walk on the treadmill? Because it's not raining now, but it looks pretty crappy. I know the kid will, he would go for the walk because, well, classes get out around 10:45, and well, he's 26, so. Had to laugh. He said his friend tells him he's in his late 20s. I says, no, but you will be in about a month and a half. Well done, Tretherian. I keep them coming. Keep them coming. He's a little late. I told him I want the bagel at 7:54. That gives me 7 minutes before the 8 o'clock segment. But we've had 8 o'clock guests the last 2 days. So I know I can ask a question, mute my mic, and snarf for a good 3 minutes before I have to talk. Well, at least a minute and a half to 2 minutes before I have to talk again. Oh, it's been great. I mean, honestly, it is funny that there is about a 5 to 7 degree temperature difference between here and Southwest Florida. And this time of year, to me, it's on the good side, especially Saturday and Sunday morning. I'm up and out the door by 7:30, and it's just awesome. Golly, is it fantastic right now down here or up here or whatever you want to say. It's not a stroll. It's walking literally as fast as I can for 4 miles. It's my only exercise. It is 4 miles in basically a little less than an hour. I've got an app and everything.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour, till we're done. A fast-moving Miller and Moulton on this first Tuesday of April. Seth Everett will join us on the show tomorrow. We'll probably dive into, a little Masters talk. We'll also dive into the president's executive order and what it will mean as of August 1st for college athletics. So a lot of meat on the bone for a hump day edition tomorrow of Miller and Moulton.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
This is about as far back as we ever go, David.
Okay.
According to scholars, we are going to 30 AD. It is today that Jesus was crucified, according to scholars. For what it's worth, this is the original Good Friday, if you will.
Huh.
That's what they're telling.
Okay.
1805, Lewis and Clark leave Fort Mandan on the Missouri River in what is now Washburn, North Dakota, beginning their journey to the Pacific Ocean.
It's near the center of the state. It's near the state capital of Bismarck.
1818, General Andrew Jackson conquers the Spanish Fort San Marcos and Spanish Florida in what would become known as the First Seminole War. You can spring that on your kids that are in school today because I'm pretty sure they're not learning about it. This is one of my favorites, David. And maybe Eiserman should be listening right now, because it was today in 1928 that 44-year-old Ranger General Manager Lester Patrick replaces an injured goaltender in a Stanley Cup game and beats Montreal 2-1 in overtime. The Rangers would go on to win the series.
Yeah.
Worse than the way they're playing 5-on-5, Stevie Y.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember that NHL game a few years ago, the emergency goalie for the Blackhawks?
Yeah.
The guy's just sitting, he's like 37 years old. He's got a day job, a desk job. Okay. But he's the emergency goalie, and 2 Blackhawks goalies got hurt, and they had to bring him in with like 12 minutes to go. He had a 3-goal lead, but he stopped like all 10 shots that he faced. He was first star of the night.
Today in 51, Hogan wins the first of his 2 Masters titles. 1963, a 23-year-old Jack Nicklaus would win his first of 6 green jackets with a 3-foot par putt on the final hole, 1 stroke ahead of Tony Lema.
That was during that 7-year run, Mark, okay, where the only golfers to win the Masters were either Palmer, Nicklaus, or Player.
That's pretty good.
Man, that's not bad. It really is. That'll play, as they say.
Today in 68, for those of you Goodfellas fans, Henry Hill and Tommy DeSimone committed the Air France robbery. That's the first one in the movie. That's not the one that De Niro whacks everybody over.
Right. What did I tell you? What did I tell you? Okay, no big purchases. The big pink, was it a Lincoln or a caddy out
the
front?
Big caddy in the fur coat. He rips the fur coat off.
What did I tell you?
Blue Jays' first game in 77, they win, beating Chicago. I like this one, David. Today in 79, Ken Forsch from the Astros no-hits the Braves, becoming the only brothers to have no-hitters because his brother Bob had already thrown a no-no.
And he was with the Cardinals when he threw it. I told you the guy who mentored me in the business, Kent Westling, when I was a 19, 20, 21-year-old back in Scranton, PA, he was at that Cardinals Force no-hitter. And he told me, he said, I remember it vividly because it's the day my marriage broke up. I said, what? He goes, yeah, my wife wanted to leave in the 8th inning. And I go, honey, he's throwing a no-hitter. And she goes, well, I mean, they play like 100-something of these games. And at that moment, he realized, he goes, I really don't think we're compatible.
Today in 81, yes, he's a horrible person, but this is a great album. Rick James released Street Songs. It gave you Super Freak, it gave you Give It To Me Baby, and it gave you Below the Funk. 3 tremendous tracks.
Yeah.
Just saying. Rotten Person.
Yes. Yeah.
Doesn't mean it wasn't good music.
Correct.
Jack Morris knows the White Sox. I think this was opening day in 84, right?
Yeah, because that's why that whole season was so magical. It's opening day no hitter. That you guys go 35-5 to start, and then you just destroyed everybody in the playoffs.
2003, Syracuse finally gets their title. Carmello Anthony, the most outstanding player. They beat Kansas by 3.
Roy Williams
Kansas.
last game at Kansas. After that game, he took the Carolina job.
Kansas beat Memphis today in 2008, the first time since seeding began that all 4 top seeds went to the Final Four.
Memphis didn't foul Mario. The one game I did at Allen Fieldhouse, all right, it was the opening game of 2009. They had just won the title. The 2 biggest roars all night, no matter who they introduced, the whole deal, were for Danny Manning and when they showed the highlight of Chalmers hitting the 3.
Today in 2014, UConn beats Kentucky, and it was the second time in college basketball history that both the men's and women's national titles were won by the same team. 2018, Vegas loses their last season, but sets an NHL expansion team record with 51 wins. The previous record was 33. And in 2019, both D. Wade and Dirk Nowitzki played their final home games. It was kind of a big night in the NBA. So you got those two playing their final games. Magic quits as Lakers president that same day, and the Rockets set a record for the most three-point field goals in a game.
Yeah.
4 significant things in one day in one league.
Right, when the NBA regular season had some meaning.
Correct. It wasn't that long ago. And 2 years ago, Larry David's Curb Your Enthusiasm ends after 12 seasons. Billie Holiday, James Garner, Wayne Rogers, that's Trapper John for those of you that don't know, and Clark Gillies would have all celebrated birthdays today. Francis Ford Coppola's 87, Jackie Chan and Tony Dorsett, 72. Hockey coach Ted Nolan, 68, Russell Crowe, 62. The Barber twins, Rondé and Tiki, are 41. Adrian Beltre, 37, and Tyler Lindenbaum, the new Raiders, 26 years old today. What did I miss, David?
They're just 41, the Barbers?
Yeah.
Wow. They've been around a while, and they both still look like they can
I'm
play.
sorry. That's bad math by me. 51. My bad.
Okay.
My bad. Bad math. Happens every once in a while.
I got 2 things today in 49. It's actually, I don't know if Broadway Mark becomes Broadway without South Pacific open today on Broadway in 49. It played 5 years. All right. It was a thing.
Way better than North Pacific.
So anyway, it was a pretty big deal. And John Wayne won his only Oscar today for True Grit in 1970.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Cucaulin, Michigan for the good. I never thought I'd be able to say Cucaulin on this show and have it be relevant. But a 65-year-old Cucaulin resident who had been playing the lotto twice a week for decades finally won. She hit for $1.1 million. Now, it has her numbers in here, but I don't know if she played the same numbers all the time. I'm really just doing this for David, who he's been playing the same numbers for decades, and his late father-in-law played them for decades before he passed. So
Right.
They're about 30 years deep on playing these numbers.
Right. It'll be 25 years next month. Love you, Rev. But a few bucks would be helpful.
For the bad, we go to Kansas, where emergency responders had to come to the rescue of a cat who didn't want to go to the vet. Anybody who has ever tried to get a cat into a carrying cage to take it to the vet knows what a fun time that is. Well, this cat did not want to get in its cage. It got stuck in a mechanical reclining chair, and they had to bring in rescuers to get the cat out.
So
Cats do not like to be put in carriers.
I'll make this as quick as possible. I'm moving from Fargo to Fort Myers. My best friend meets me on the side of the road. He flies into O'Hare. I pick him up near the airport, and I have everything that we own and our cat. Wife and daughter are remaining back for a few more days. They're flying in midweek. I'm going to get the apartment all set. We stay at a hotel. I let the cat out. It's time to go in the morning. We're only in Nashville. I got a lot more miles to go. The cat is positioned, Mark, if you drew an X on the king size bed, underneath the bed, right in the middle. So, Hollywood Squares, Paul Lynn, boom. Yeah, we literally had to take a hotel bed apart to get the cat.
Circle gets the square.
Right.
And finally, for the ugly, we go to Rock Rapids, Iowa, where a 73-year-old woman was arrested on the charge of operating a vehicle while under the influence on back-to-back days.
Oh, my
That's
goodness.
right. Brenda DeBerg was initially arrested on April Fool's Day. And then she was picked up the next day, also driving her Honda. How she was able to drive both days is beyond me, but she's in a little more trouble than she would have been, apparently, for only doing it once. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, April the 7th, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, great pay, great benefits. All information can be found capecops.com.
11 games in the NHL. Both the Panthers and Lightning in action. Panthers eliminated, but they're playing in Montreal. Canadians fighting for playoff position. This is the game in hand for the Lightning. They're in Ottawa against the Senators. Ottawa right now by 1 point is the last wild card in the East. Huge game for Tampa after losing in Buffalo last night 4-2. Mark, I don't have to tell you how big your Columbus-Detroit game is tonight. You're both tied, 2 points behind Ottawa with 5 to play. A lot of games with playoff ramifications, particularly out west, because the Pacific Division has 3 teams separated by a point, but 11 games in the NHL. The ESPN doubleheader, Flyers-Devils early. What the heck? And then the late game is Edmonton-Utah.
Tampa, you're rooting for a win one, and you're rooting for the Bruins. They're in Carolina. So Carolina, big favorite tonight at home against Boston.
NBA tonight, Heat in Toronto. And, right now, isn't Miami the 10 seed? They don't even host the 9-10 play-in game right now. I think they're the last team in the East.
They are. They're a game and a half behind the 3 teams that are all tied for 7, 8, and 9. And those 3 teams are only a half game behind Toronto. Toronto has a game in hand, but when you're not that good, you got to win it.
Charlotte's in Boston. That's the 8 o'clock game on NBC and Peacock. The 11 o'clock game is Houston and Phoenix, which is interesting because OKC's in LA against the Lakers. Wow. You would have thought that would have been the game to televise, but it's not.
Rasmussen on the bump tonight or this evening for the Rays, a 6:40 start against the Cubbies. Marlins and Reds. Alcantara on the mound for the Marlins.
By the way, he has yet to give up a run, right, in his 2 starts? I mean, he keeps pitching like this. You start looking at A, how can you trade him? He's one of the best pitchers in baseball. But B, oh my goodness, if you do trade him, what you're going to get for him. Very quickly, if you're a fan of teams, major league teams in the East Coast, a lot of evening games are being moved. The Mets moved tonight and tomorrow's game to late afternoon. I think the Orioles, Mark, have already done the same thing with the White Sox. That game got moved up. Normally, your teams would be playing at night. You just want to check the schedule. It's really cold in the Midwest and the Northeast, and some baseball games are getting moved up.
Scooble's pitching today in Minnesota. That means if it's cold, he might pitch 4 innings.
We're going to dog him all year.
Yeah, unless they win the division and he's pitching for the ALCS. Yeah, I'm going to be all over him, David. until he pitches 7 innings in a meaningful game. Yeah, I think it's fair. I think we've earned that right.
Mark, I'm right behind you. I'm banging the garbage can.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will visit Lee County in April as he is recognized by the Edison Awards as their Achievement Award honoree. His recognition not only highlights his leadership within professional sports, but also his broader influence on business, technology, and social responsibility. The Edison Awards recognize thought leadership from around the globe, making Silver's visit a significant moment for Lee County. Visit EdisonAwards.com for event details and tickets. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Thanks, Raj.
Thanks, Mark.
Talk to you tomorrow, my man.
Have a good